Sorry, guys, that I'm not I'm not saying hi. Just that these crackets, they are so like they have like seeds and they are so harsh to it um, that you have to have a sort of rhythm in your mouth, especially me that I have sensitive gums. So that's why I'm like mindfully I'm like chewing. But what time is it over there, Dania? Is it early for you? I believe it's really early for you. Yeah, 5 a.m. Were you working? Ah, okay. My cat woke me up on my free day. Yeah, I understand you. I remember when I used to work for in sales. Usually, the only free, not free day, but it's like I don't know how you guys say it in English, but it's like a holiday. Like a day that naturally is supposed to be free day for everyone, including like malls, supermarkets, and you know. Um, um, I don't know about pharmacy because I know the pharmacy has to be open, but I don't know about that. Um, and and I remember those days were May the 1st, and yeah, the first day of the year. Those 2 days were the only days that the places were closed for everyone. For everyone. Um, yeah, national holiday. That's what I want to say. Yes. But I don't know why. I find it really hard to say holiday in English and not in pronunciation, but I find it like it doesn't represent what I want to say. Because for me, like holiday, it's like a festivity, like and when I think about certain holidays, like national and like they're different, maybe their history or what they are made about, I find it strange to say holiday. I don't know because maybe they have like like a patriotic or something that it has to do with history that is very important, or maybe I feel it like it's done to somehow promote or remind people of this special date, this happened in history or in the history of your country, so call it a holiday. It sounds too informal for me. Like I don't know, I sometimes I feel like it's not a holiday. How do you say it? And I'm trying to find another word to replace it. Yes, we do have puentes. Yes, yes. Those are like the craziest. It depends on the president, but there are certain presidents that they love to create puentes. They love like the mix and match, and I kind of understand because for tourism and for people being able to have like 4 days in a row, and attach all those holidays and just have like a 4 day, getaway or something like this. I think that for people, for families, when you have children, it's so important. It's just that maybe, in my case that I've always worked for people, for customer service, for, you know, um, it, it's not it doesn't make a difference for me. Like, actually, like, yes, it brings more people, yeah, to shopping. Probably people buy more, because yes, they have the time and they are not in a rush, so they basically just spend the whole day in the place. They just won't leave. They won't leave. I swear there were a lot of times that we had to be like, we're about to close. Even if you can hear, like, on the speakers, that they are telling you, like, it's 10 minutes to the close, to the closing hour. But people will continue, just walking around, or maybe trying things on, so it's like, it's very interesting, the perspective of the consumer. I never had that experience myself, because I believe that since working in that industry, I sort of developed like a sort of anxiety to being in those places. So whenever I have to buy something, or I have to, go and buy something, I just do it very quickly and I get out. I just, I go with my mind of what I want to, buy, and I just go. I avoid large crowds, because it's, the music, the lighting, there's a certain buzz, a certain sound, that of, when the crowd, it's all united in the same place, that you never forget that feeling of like, wow, it's really crowded here, or wow, like, or people talking at the same time, and the music being loud. It's an atmosphere that, of course, that when you are doing your job, now that we're talking about Labor Day, when you are doing your job, of course, that it's better to have people than not to have anyone, and you will get fired probably, and you will get bored also. When people don't come, like the hours, they seem longer. So, it's for me, at least, it was such a good experience to have to deal with a lot of customers, like probably all of them at the same time. So, it's never like the right amount of people. It's always like a lot, or maybe one or two. But people just talk to you, all of them, they talk to you at once, and you're like, can you please wait a minute, that I'm finishing with this person, and then, I see you, I hear you, but can you wait? And I always been very fast, to do what I had to do to assist people, or to, help them go to the checkup, to check out. I've always been very fast, because I understand that people's time is also money, so I don't want to make clients waste their time. But, I'm just one person. Every time I had like a coworker, that they will go to their break, to their, to have, a bit of, to eat something, and to have a bit of a fresh air, if it was possible. Um, I remember they would, oh my God, everyone would come in those 10-20 minutes that my coworker was gone. Everyone would show up. Everyone and their mothers would show up. I don't know why. I guess it's life. I don't know. Oh, but we have a very long puente, because of May 1st and May. You also have May 1st, the 5th. Yes, and no, we don't celebrate May 5th at all. Customers are horrible. Thankful now I'm working with police, who is worse, but at least I get, yeah, we have get to know the person. Yes, yes. Yeah, I think that even the person that has like the experience, and probably has the ability to be with customers, through the years and the experience and the stress, you start like, not liking your job, and you start like, I think that you sort of develop a sort of phobia, which is very odd, because this is why sometimes I think that boundaries are essential, for any kind, either if it's like a business relationship, or if it's maybe family even, because you can be very good at helping others and assisting others, but they will always want more. They will always want more out of you. So it's tough for the person, because you sort of develop like you don't want to be there, or you feel a bit like sensitive, and I think that that's a shame, because I remember I used to love like helping people and talking to people, and just being here and there, and just assisting everyone, and and helping people have the best experience that they can, even maybe assisting them, or helping them find things that they weren't of my department, certain things that they weren't mine, but it's like, I need to know where to get to this place, do you know? And I would be like, yes, if I do have the information, I would share it. Um, but I think that sometimes, it has to do also with the labor conditions. Sometimes you do work long hours. You are in there the weekends, the holidays, like every day you are in there. So, and sometimes, there's no recognition, either if you treat them like the best, I think that people also will remember when you treated them not so, when you treat them great, they take it for granted. They never say thank you, or like, wow, thank you, this was helpful. But when you didn't maybe give them something specifically that they needed, they will complain. So it's very odd, the relationship with the client, because when they are satisfied, they just don't say anything. So that's good, I guess, but also it's like it seems like your effort was invisible. you know it was taken for granted. It was like, well, she was nice, yeah, I will move on. I will move on. Um, and but if you do make a small mistake, oh, they will drag it. They will drag it. They will ask, even they will call the president, even the president of the country, to let them know. And now with the social media, with TikTok and people doing these story times here in Argentina, I've seen it a lot of people, telling their experiences on TikTok and being like, I went to this store, and this girl, she was working in there, and she totally ignored me, and she did this, and which I think that, well, social media is like, it is what it is, it's been used like this for this storytelling. Um, but I think that, yeah, there's people that they definitely are so like so bad, that at their job, or they are not responsible. So of course that, if you want to call them out, but then you don't know, the backstory. You don't know, what happened. But so I don't know. I think that if I would still be in that industry, I would be scared of someone doing the story time of when I went, and this person, she treated me like this. Of course, I have my manners, I have my way of working, so I don't think. I think that probably I would be, maybe if I made a mistake, it would be like, okay, I don't have this available right now that you want to buy or purchase. I don't have it. And I know that for a client, when you say no, or when you tell them no, or when you tell them, oh, it's not possible, they will get, mad. They will get mad. But, I will try my best to, resolve what I can. But but yeah, I don't know about. I noticed that younger generations, they don't know how to deal with people. They are not polite neither. So I understand why people are sensitive. Because this is the thing about customer service, and also the thing about dealing with people is that it's not just being nice. It's a complex. You have to be good at it. You have to be good at dealing with people. Um, you have to be also responsible. You have to acknowledge them, look at them in the eye, listen to them, listen to what they're asking you, pay attention. It's not, this is why sometimes we burn out, because there's a lot of attention and energy that we put on a customer. It's not about whether they're going to buy something expensive or not. It's about the experience. I've always knew this. I've always, ever since I was very young and I started working like for certain brands, I always knew that the customer is not about the product. It's not about like, oh my God, they come to buy like the most expensive one or the one that is the most popular product. So we want them to buy more. It's not about that. It's about the experience. They value the experience, the process of you guiding them through the sales process, and that is very complex, and also it's very hard to reach, to do that, to do all the steps when you have other people waiting, when you're just one person for a lot of people. It's different. It's the treatment that is supposed to be like personal or personalized. You have to be like looking at them, looking at the other, helping one, being like an octopus with oh, here, there for you, like go in there, like, and yeah, in those moments there's no control. But I also understand that there's people that they don't have the ability to deal with people. So if you don't like people, or if you don't have it's not about patience. It's like if you don't have it, you should look for another job. You should look for another job. Yeah. Or if it doesn't work for you anymore, you should look for another industry. But that's one thing that I always notice. It's not about what they're buying. It's about how you make them feel. Some people are very lonely, and in consumerism you do see it. Yeah, I think I became an introvert, and I didn't know it was possible, but it was more because of medication healing. So maybe I just had a lot to say before, because I was not a nice extrovert. I think it's because they expect you to satisfy them, but even then, a thanks should be given. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's so fun. It's funny we're talking about this right now, because I'm also applying for retail jobs, and I feel anxious and about possible reviews. Always, Draco Laura, always mention giving the customer the best experience ever. Always mention that. Mention that in the interview. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Yeah. It's like, giving them the best experience, so they can come back, because they do come back and they do remember you. I had, especially, if it's like older people, if you help them once, they always are like, calling you by your name, and they are like, oh, there she is, And I was so happy, I love old people, because I grew up with old people. So they are so, some of them are difficult, honestly. But once you get the hang of it, older people and people with money are difficult. They are difficult, but they also can be very generous. They can be very generous. Actually, I noticed that like being selling for people that they are not that wealthy. They are just regular people. Is more challenging. It's more challenging because they would buy some people, they don't know what to do with their money, or they don't have much, but they will get into a lot of debt to pretend that they have it. So there's a bit of resentment in it's like you are buying it not because you need it or you want it, you are buying it because other people have it, and you think that you should have it, even if that means that you're going to go broke. So that's a very sort of there's a resentment towards us that we are selling it, and the product is like, yeah, I want it, but I hate that I have to buy it, and then like, oh, because I got in debt because I have to buy this, but everyone is saying that it's so good. So I think that is tough, when you are, it's like, why are you buying it then if you hate it so much, or if you hate how you are getting into a very uncomfortable feeling of debt. Sometimes, yes, keeping up with appearances, or keeping up with what everyone is wearing, or what everyone is buying, what is trending. People do care a lot about that, a lot, a lot. But people with money, they are very selective about what they buy. You can try to convince them to buy the most expensive one. Oh, this one, has great reviews, and they will not fall for it. They will be like, I don't know. They will not buy anything. That's another thing. It's like they can have you hours and hours, and they will not buy anything, or the cheapest one. But I don't know. I just think that they are hard to understand, but then they can surprise you. So and though, at least in my experience, I didn't have experiences of people like showing off and being like, oh, because I have the money to buy this. No, I always had like good interactions. But I'm very patient with them, in the sense that if they want to say something outrageous, or if they want to be like, like, oh, because, I know this brand and this is not good. They have a sort of attitude. They have a sort of like shield. They don't like you initially. They are like, oh, you're trying to convince me to buy the most expensive one, right? They always think that you want to take their money. So, it's like you have to be very patient. But they're not that bad. They're not that bad. I had a customer yesterday, Trina, making up shit, trying to return things. Ah, yes, they do that. Yes, yes, yes. She was telling me she was told she would have her receipt on her reviewer's card. Ah, they never have the receipt. You always ask them, like, if you want to return this, you have to, at least in my country, you have to have the receipt. They never have it. They never have it. And yes, they will make, oh, yes, they will make it's like, I'm giving you 30 days to return this. You come a day later, you are late. And also the conditions of the product are not really like you with clothing. It's like you see the clothing and you're like, you wore this. You went clubbing with this because I can smell cigarette. I can smell perfume. You wore this. And now you want to return it, a month later. People are in that sense, oh, I always will give it to a boss. I'll talk to my supervisor about this. I already seen the product. This is not for sale. Like, you cannot put it back on in the shelves because it's used. But talk to a manager. I just don't get stressed with those things, because I know people lie. I know. Yeah, they always blame like a ghost, some. Yeah, the girl told me, there was a girl that told me they always blame the ghost employee. Mm. Oh, yeah, the most difficult people are foreigners. Yes, yes. Especially, yeah. Yeah, I had situations with Americans also. Yeah, they were the rudest. Yes. Yeah, yeah. And yes, awful, awful experience. Yes. No, I love Bottega Veneta. I love it. I love them. Yeah, I'm loving. Yeah, yeah. Always go for the luxury brands. Yes, because honestly, I mean, the work is the same, but you are specific about promoting the brand. And and probably you can get things not for free, but you can get discounts, so I love luxury brands. I always love them, because actually there's something about the way they make products that, yeah, is really good. It's really good. It's really good. It's not generic, it's really good. But yeah, they are very specific about appearances, that you look, if you have a uniform, that that uniform has to be, perfect. You have to be perfect. Like, it's not about beauty. It's about, you looking put together, um, um, I don't know if they made you cover your tattoos. I don't know how the industry is, but I remember I had to wear long sleeves because they would make me cover the tattoos. They didn't like that back then. I think some customers want to show others they can afford certain things, but they can't. So they wear it and then they return it. Yes, they do that. Mm. Yes, please, Dracula. The amount of times people got angry at me because I couldn't speak Russian and help them. Oh, I guess I look Russian. Oh, yeah, I had a girl coming when I used to work at the pharmacy. A girl, yeah, from Russia. Two girls actually I got in different days, but I was like, what are Russian people doing here? um, and she showed me, she wanted to buy something in a medicine, and of course that I don't know about medicine, but she looked very lost, poor girl. So she showed me the phone. She showed me, and yeah, it was all Russian, and I look at it, and I was like, oh, and I was like, do you speak English? And sort of with English, I tried to, like, she translated on her phone, what she needed, and I was like, oh, so that. So we found, thank God for the English. That I think that she wasn't good at English neither, but Google. And so I took her, to the girls, and I was like, she wants this. It wasn't a specific medicine for. I don't know if it was for ears, her ears, or it was for her gums. I don't remember exactly, but it was something about those things. Um, and so I was really happy, because really the girl looked really like, and she was so young and she looked very lost, so I think that I would want someone to help me out if I would be this lost, and then people, my people that work next to me, they were like, but how do you come to a country without knowing a bit of their language? And I know that there's a lot of people that think like this, and I don't know. I never I always traveled countries that they do speak Spanish, so I don't know, but I do know English, so it could be. But I think that if you have the possibility, you just go, because there's technology. But I don't know about, you having the confidence of being like, well, I don't speak the language, but I will go anyway, you know. Yes. hmm You can use Google App to take photos, and you can translate. Yeah, it's really easy. I believe the environment is better, but the stress is the same. Mm. It's very rare for luxury brands, not required by a luxury brand experience. So I'm taking the opportunity. Yes. There was a time a Brazilian guy had a problem with a watch, and I was on the luggage section, so then spoke no Portuguese, so he could speak English, but he can speak in Portuguese because he said I should. Oh no, not him wanting you to know Portuguese. I would be like, um, I know, like if you talk to me, it's really hard because with Portuguese, it's like if with your tone and the way you're talking, I kind of can understand your mood. If you're happy, if you're angry, if you're in a rush, it's not that I understand what he's talking about or what they're talking about, but because of the way they are talking, I'm like, I kind of understand what you're saying. But yeah, with my Spanish, no, no. I think that here in Argentina, when we when there's certain people that they went to Brazil for vacation, and they come back, and they speak in this way that they call it like portuñol. That is like a mix of a bit of Portuguese and a bit of Espanol, Spanish. That is really funny because it doesn't mean anything. Like it's a made up word. It's made up words. You sort of, you know. But I think that we people, if we want to be understood, we will make it. It's just that the attitude also that's what bothers you, that you're working, and it's not like you don't want to help the person. But if there's a language barrier, please be nice. Please say hello. You know, um, please be patient because probably the person is also busy with other things. It's not that I never worked at a retail store and been like, oh, I have free time. Come here, let's talk. No, it was never like this, and it was like 6 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, sometimes 10 hours of me standing on my 2 feet, not being able to sit. There was no chairs around me. I didn't have the possibility to sit through my shifts. I think that the only people that were able to sit were the cashiers, the people that work in the checkouts. But in my case, I never had and if there was a chair, it was only for you to look at something on the computer, but it was like the of for decoration. You are not supposed to be seated. You're not supposed to be seated, especially when there's people, because it does gives a wrong impression. Um, I would try to rush up on my high school Spanish, but it was just Spanish speaking in. Also, we love people that they just do a bit, like they do try to speak a bit Spanish. We find it, really cute because we understand that Spanish is very complex, especially here in Argentina. Our accent is very different, and we speak very fast than other countries, than other Latin American countries. So maybe for someone that is like, but I know Spanish, and sometimes we say something, people are like, what? Even people that speak Spanish, like sometimes they're like, what? I have my Mexican friend, and I always try to avoid using, I try to use like a traditional kind of Spanish style, so she doesn't get confused, so there's no misunderstanding. But yeah, every once in a while I throw an Argentinian phrase in there, and she's like, what? Mm. Okay. I had a lot of time because my area was not that busy. The attitude is so different over in France. I believe not speaking proper French is kind of offensive to them in a way of something. Maybe they don't have the patience. Yes. Yeah. I should learn a bit of French. I'm always thinking about I should learn another language besides English, but I'm never sure about which one. It's like I don't. Um, but I love it. I love it when um, I think that we always talk about this, how we all are into, K-pop, K-dramas. I'm also watching C-dramas now. I'm watching Chinese dramas now. Well, J-dramas had always been around as well. So I think that even if we don't know how to speak it, we do have a sort of listening comprehension. Our ears are literally open. So I think that that's so nice to be able to be that open, that intelligent also, and understanding of other people's culture. And not being like, oh, I only care of what is made in my country. Like, I understand that you have to be proud, of your roots and your country history and everything that we have built, because each country has had, a history of endurance and a lot of things that we go through every day. Things are not okay in the world. But sometimes, to just look at another culture and also learn a bit, it's like even having a bit of curiosity, like, okay, what is it over there? How do they live over there? What was the story? I think that's like a never-ending, learning experience and you have the possibility of doing it while watching something that is fun. But yeah, there's people that are rude, and you see it. In those things, in those moments of the person coming out, as rude, you don't need translation. You feel it. You feel it. You feel the how people are rude. And how they think less of you. Because you're working. In France, you're always rude. Only in fluent French, they might cut you some slack. As a German or American, you're categorically disliked. Oh my God. I asked a question at the airport and they ignored me so directly they walked off my face. But the immigration guys were really nice and tried to speak Spanish when they saw my passport. So maybe they just don't like English. No, but I have visited before. Maybe because I'm Asian, they don't really like it. I believe they're rather friendly with those who have long hair or like those classic white look, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I know what I mean. Yes, that it's the tale is old as time. Yeah, they definitely look at you different. I mean, people in general, I notice this. It's very different when you are blonde or when you have like, blue eyes or something like this. You know, when you are brown, or if you look of another ethnicity, they have a sort of prejudice, you know, against a person. Um, but yeah. I think that they were happy I was an American. It's just that Americans, not all of them. I don't, I don't know that many people in person to be like, you know, oh, they are like this. But especially men, not women, men. I had like a man, you know, just being so rude to me, like, and he was, you know, huge. Like I don't know, he was so angry, violent, you know. Oh my God. And it wasn't even my fault. I wasn't, you know, working, you know, I wasn't dealing with him. So I don't know why he saw me. He got upset at me. I was like, what is going on? Oh my God. I will not forget that man. How rude he was, you know. How can they talk to women like that? I don't know. Make sure to bring a white person along so you don't get discriminated. Yeah, in my family, I do have white people. Yes, I'm the only one that I'm a bit on the brunette side. Yeah, everyone is white. My dad is a bit brunette, but he has blue eyes. So, you know, sometimes people are nicer to him than me. Actually, I never got, even though I'm brown, but I know it's really interesting because I never got, you know, not mistaken, but people, it's like they see me and I look very Latin American. I am Latin American, but people would always confuse me for Asian, for being Asian. And even ever since when I was young, when I had even curly hair, my original hair, you know, maybe my features, you know, people would always assume I was Asian descendant. You know, then they would look at my parents and be like, where is she from? But yeah, they would say I would look at it Asian more than Latin American. Oh, that's cool. You didn't feel any racism when you went to New York. I'm the lightest in my family. Probably is not always the case, but people are nicer to men, or maybe I just live in a very old-fashioned country. Yeah, it's about that. People believe I'm Korean, Japanese, and they treat me better, but I don't know why. Um, Chinese have a bad reputation. Yeah, actually, like personally, I think that when I was younger, I had like more like Asian features, but because of thyroid, I noticed my eyes changed. My eyes, like I have like, um, I have like bigger eyes now because of thyroid. Like I had smaller eyes. not small, but I think that my eyes do pop out a lot because of thyroids. But I used to have like small, like more like smaller eyes, like the shape. And I think that it changed because of thyroids. Yes. Yeah. But I used to have them differently. Yeah, I changed. In that aspect, I did notice I changed. Oh, really? I had the opposite. I'm Asian and people mistake me for Latina. See, it's like, it's very strange. It's very strange because for me, the first thing I notice about Asian women, especially, is the tone of the skin. It's not about white, but I think that Asian people, they have a skin texture. There's something about their skin that it's so like smooth. I don't know. And I've always been very hairy. Look at my hair in here. Well, this is not my hair, but look at, I've always been like, if you notice, like I've always been very hairy, like having a lot of hair. And I believe that this is the hormones. It's not that I was supposed to be raised like this. Like I think that because I was premature, they did give me hormones to develop faster. But maybe that's why I actually got more hairy than the rest. But they will always mistake me for like Japanese, especially Japanese. I remember I was so angry because I had do a presentation about this. Was very sad because the presentation was about the Hiroshima, the bomb and everything. And I remember I had to do like a school presentation, with a group of other students, and people would make fun of me. They were like, "Oh, tell us your story of how you got here to the country." And I was so embarrassed. But I was, because as a child, you don't understand. Like I never met a Japanese person in my life. I don't have, maybe I believe from my godfathers that he was from Paraguay. From my godfather's side, my mom's dad, he had, I believe there was some Japanese, descent, something in there, but it was very like, from back before a lot of generations, I don't know even because we are all mixed. But my mom is blonde. My mom was a bit like more on the blonde side. So I came out very odd, very black hair. I don't know. Some people think I look Asian. I was told I look Latina as well, especially when I tan. I went to China and people in China wouldn't speak Chinese to me because they thought I didn't know. Oh, one person spoke to me in Korean, Japanese, and English. I was so confused. Like, please. I think people confuse sometimes because of dark hair, dark eyes, and olive skin tone. That's so pretty when it turns. My brain started malfunctioning. Yes, you were like, I don't know which one to choose. I don't speak neither of those. Well, Middle Easterns in Germany was I heard it's a common Mexican experience. Oh. But like I told you guys, I do have a bit like a sort of Asian body. Not now because thyroids, and I also have extra pounds. But when I didn't have thyroids, in my 20s, when I was like my normal shape, even growing up, I noticed that I didn't have the shape that other girls had, like, I don't know, like, it's not about having big boobs or no, but it was like I didn't have like, like an accentuated waist or, curves. I was so plain. I was so plain, so like skinny and just plain, you know. Oh my. So I had to make it work because I was very skinny and just didn't have any shape. Um, I think that the only thing that had shape was my hair, my big hair. But I was very, I didn't have any shape. I wasn't religious at all, and I was so envious of people that, that they had their jeans on and it looked really good because they had hips, and for me it wasn't. I was just plain. We have so many foreigners, so people look at you and think you might be part of their culture. Yes, yes. They would see me a bit as Brazilian as well, maybe because of, but I think that it's because I smile a lot, so maybe they thought that I could be Brazilian as well. I'm trying to grow my family, and the progress is very slow, but I think it's work. Oh, really? Oh, look at you. Lucky you. I had both at 10 and had this for forever until I know the one way. Oh, wow. Yeah, it must have been traumatic at 10, at 10, yes. Also, I don't know about other cultures, but, usually, like it doesn't matter, how old you are, but men tend to look at you a lot, and they don't disguise it, older men, they tend to look at, the girls, even if they are, really young. But if they are developing their bodies or if they have certain curves, people, men really, pay attention, which it's gross. I don't know about other cultures if they do it so openly, but at least in my country I noticed it. They are very shameless like that, and you're like, that's a child, like, why are you looking at them like in that way? Oh, my chest got bigger after I already became an adult. And at first I thought it was a dream come true, but now I miss my smaller chest. Like, yeah, I'm sure that it must be, yeah, it must be, a whole responsibility, to have, yes, yes, especially for your back. Yes. I think that people have no idea. Well, I said the same thing about hair. I always had, a lot of hair. And when I had to wear it for school, that you had to, tie it up. And my mom would, I think that I looked Asian because my mom would tie, would tie my hair so high like this that, my eyes would get very, like the almond shape because of that. But in for school, you have to have, your hair up, very, it had to be very neat, no hair on your face nor anything. And I think that my mom really like pressed a lot, and I remember she had to use like double, this double like things to hold my hair because it was very heavy. So, and it hurts, it's really hard to have a lot of hair, it's heavy, and it's challenging when they brush it, it's never ending. Usually people are not that, except maybe a hairdresser, they are probably more like, they are more kind, but mothers, they would just, mm, My hair so puffy, I realized doing a curl routine is very helpful. I realized my hair was curly after the shower. Yes. Yeah, my hair, all my, until I turned, I believe, 15, I've always had like very puffy hair with a lot of frizz. But that's because my mom would brush it. My mom would treat it like if it was a straight hair. She would brush it. She would brush it, and I would lose the shape. I had initially, I had curly hair. It's just that she didn't know how to style it. So she would brush it. She would brush it and put it in a ponytail, and that's it. It's like, there you go. So my hair would get, very like, like a lion, and also like very, like with no shape. You would look at it and be like, what is, what is your hair? Because definitely straight is not, it is not a straight hair. It's not. But I remember in the 90s, it was like this, Um, so then I learned, to sort of style it, just like I say, to, have it wet and slowly, start like making the curls. And then the curls would appear. But it took me a while, because she basically, she like, with all the brushing and with all the try to straightening, it was like the restriction of always having it up. Also, it took me a while to get like my curls. Yeah, always use gel and mousse after shower. Mm. Yeah, do not brush. Do not brush. Do not brush. My poor mom, like, I don't blame her, but she also had that texture of hair. So I wonder why she didn't see it. But it's just that back then there weren't like that much information about different kind of hair. Probably because if you look at my baby pictures, I actually have curls, like big curls, but they were curls. So it's very interesting how she didn't think about like, okay, how can I nourish this? It was like, no, as long as she was able to put it up on the ponytail, it was going to be like this, or just having braids. She would put it up and then do a braid. So the hair was always restricted. This is why I like, I for a long time, and actually until today, I refuse to have my hair up all the time. Like, I need to let it down. I need to let it breathe, except when it's really hot, and I cannot, I cannot have it on me. But it's like I refuse to have it tied up, for a lot of hours, because it gets marked, it gets damaged like this. And then when I want to, want to put it back down, it's impossible, because it marks the hair. There's a lot of like, there's a lot of things here, and it's really hard. Yeah, for me, it took me a long time. Yeah, a long time. Okay, guys, I'm going to start with the readings, because otherwise I'm going to be here forever. Okay. I have 10. I have wavy 10. Because I remember that after Mark was announced that he left, he left SM and he left NCT. So I made a video reading for him, so people wanted to know about, what about 10, that now he's living, he's not living SM, but he's not living NCT YB, but he's living SM. So yeah, reading for 10. Then for Lucas, that yes, Lucas is out. For the actress Kim Cho-hoon, for this is, I believe, a Taiwanese actress, Ariel Lin. Then I believe Yashoda, she wanted me to read for this new boy group that is called, I don't know how this is pronounced. I guess it's GLXE. It's like a trio. It's a new group. Then I'm going to read for SNSD Future in SM. Then someone mentioned about, Jungkook, about BTS JK, and that Shamans, I do like Shamans readings, but I don't know, this person was commenting that there was Shamans that said that JK should avoid women because of bad luck. So I'm going to pull cards to see, she wanted me to see, until 2030, how his life is. I don't read like that. I'm not going to read, from here to 5 years into his life. Like, come on. Like, life, it's all about changes. You cannot read for that long. At least I can do it, but I don't want to do it, because let the man have his life. 5 years from now, it's a lot. It's a lot to be like, oh, this is his future. No, just let him live. And also, why do you want to know what his life is going to be here from 5 years till here? Like, it's a lot. But yeah, let's see if I get another kind of, another kind of vision besides what these shamans say about him. About him, if he will be able to avoid these scandals. Then someone asked if BTS will have like a chance of headlining Coachella, maybe next year. Let's see what's available for them. Then someone asked for the future of Philippine pop, the pop from the Philippines, on a global stage. Yeah, I know, Chartalino. I also was like, but yeah, it's about let's see the cards, what they say. I usually don't take those, because it's like, there's people that are like, oh, there's tarot readers that say, there's people that say, there's whoever that says, and I'm like, I don't know about the others. I'm not paying attention to what others say. I only can tell you what I see. But I find shamans, not prediction, because I think that, there are certain parts about what they do that I find it very, like, inspiring. And also I will have to check if it's true, if there's like a real, I want to see a clip. Like, I want to see someone being like, okay, of that shaman saying that. But I didn't look for it. But yeah, let's see what the tarot have to say about that, if it's like this. For me, it's a bit like, it's just that predictions are, especially when it comes to shamans, there's something about the way they say things that it sort of reminds me of, these old fortune tellers here in my country, that is like they sentence you when they say like, oh, your life is going to be like this. And it's like, the way they express it, it's very, like, they really put a sentence on you, and people believe it. People are like, oh my God, like, they are really like, how do you say this? They are really like affected by that kind of, first because, with shamanism in different kind of, parts of the world. There's people that do use shamanism or spiritual practices, so there's a bit of fear, and there's a bit of like, you fear like, oh my God, what is she going to tell me, because there's like an atmosphere, and also a bit of respect. It's like, oh, you don't want to, anger like the gods, or what they, if they have an entity, I don't know. But I think that it's very odd. Like, he should avoid women, or he should avoid dating women. Like, don't you think that that's very like interesting? Like, I would be like, why would you? It's not about him avoiding dating. It's him avoiding dating the wrong person, or him, maybe coming up with another style, which I'm sure he will. But you cannot be like, oh, it's so interesting how people are, oh, he should avoid, women. He should avoid women. He should avoid relationships because they are bad for him. No, relationships are not bad. Falling in love is not bad. It's just that, yeah, when you are, a famous person, or when you have like fans and stalkers and all of those, is like potentially maybe women in general are really a danger for JK. And I've seen this. And this is not about who he dates. It's about women in general. The women that stalk him, the women that are obsessed with him, the women that want to get into his life and his house and his things, It's not about like the women he dates. It's not about him stop dating. Because if he would stop dating, if he would stop, not having a social life, it's like you are giving in to what, these crazy people want you to do. That basically they don't want you to, have social life, nor girlfriends, nor friends. They just want you to stay celibate forever. And it's not like that. It's not like that. Or if he would want to stay celibate, well, that it would be like a personal, decision of his. Not because, oh, he should stay away from women because women are bad. Yeah, sure. Yes, they don't want him to date. Yes, they would prefer to be like, no, that's a bad person. I mean, who hasn't chosen or had a bad relationship, or maybe you chosen to trust someone and well, that didn't work. So what? That doesn't mean that, No, I already read for Songhan. No, let him have, let him have a bit of freedom. Let's live a few months. He's young, rich, and handsome. Avoiding women is impossible for him. But also, he's putting him into this very, into this into this very passive, kind of a scenario where it's like, poor JK, he has to be, careful of, bad people out there. And it's like, but, he has the possibility to see, and also it's part of, him growing up and him being part of the industry and somehow experiencing relationship and being able to figure out, okay, who is a good person for me, who is a good influence for me, who is good, who is not, who was lying, who is not lying. It's part of the experience. Yes, a lot of disappointment is going to happen, but it's part of life. He has to be able to figure it out himself, and I think that he will. He's a very smart guy. He's a very smart. He can be also, romantic, and when you get in your feelings, maybe you sometimes don't see things, but also let's not take away, his potential or his ability to make good choices. messing up, but also make better choices in the future. It's like, no, he has to avoid. There's for me, when someone tells you like you have to avoid this, I'm like, it's not about avoiding. It's about you learning to, not repeat certain patterns, but also it is like go back to the source. Like, why are you in these situations all over again? Yes. Okay, I'm going to start, guys, and I'm going to change my mic because I don't want it to die in the middle of the reading. Yes, we want him to. We need all the idols to get married. In there we will be able to be like, okay, is he a good husband? Is he good to his children, to his, in there you will see his true colors, when they are in a partnership with someone. And if we can see it, that's why my bias is Chen. I think that, if he's nice to his wife and his children, I'm happy with him, Okay. Let's see 10, now that he's out of SM, let's see. Yeah, he will be okay. I think that it's nothing much is going to change. We have the Queen of Swords for 10. We have the Two of Cups. We have the Seven of Wands, and we have the Justice. And then we have the King of Cups. That is his emotional maturity. So yes, he's super mature. Like emotionally, even I think that intellectually he's also a very rational person. He's very intelligent, and I think that he's not, there's this Queen of Swords here. So I wonder if he was advised by a woman, by a very powerful CEO, or this could be even a lawyer, someone that has been in the industry that actually is very close to him, and she is like, let me help you, or let me guide you through this process. It's more like, I'm helping you see, the facts, or the, the it's like things are, whatever decision he made is like he has a lot of good people around him that they are supporting him, especially this woman. There's a lot of intelligence, there's a lot of like, and also, I think that whoever is, they are definitely helping him to, find this independence, because probably he wants to try something new. He wants to do something, different when it comes to solo. He wants to do something different. He wants to associate maybe with another part of the industry, and I think that there was a lot of unfair treatment, for him. And of course, when I say this, and you're like, yes, SM, of course, I think that he did this. He is out of SM because he's trying to defend himself from unfairness, or from things not being fair. And I think that we know this, that the treatments are not fair. Some people get more opportunities than others, but I think that for him it's more like, he wants to find balance in his life. And probably what he had been offered, it just wasn't, it's like, because I think that there's a bit of, he's very grateful to the opportunities. It's just that the Seven of Wands is like, I got my opportunities because I had to fight a lot. I had to fight a lot to get them. I have to defend my ideas. I have to, talk to people and be like, I think I deserve this, and sort of being always on the defensive about like, you want this? Okay, like you have to defend your idea, or you have to defend your vision. Why do you want this? And him being like, I think I can do better, or I think that I'm good enough, to be able to have this. And I think that for him, it's like he's tired of having to force things, and probably he's looking to go to a place or to an agency or to, a collaboration with people that they really love him, or that they really can be, generous with him. I think that, being in SM is the system that, yes, it teaches you a lot. Also, it gives you a lot of tools. And it teaches you, you have to be very brave, very courageous. You have to be able, yes, to stand up for your vision or your ideas. It's like you have to be able to sustain. It's not like, oh, I want a solo, and they will just give it to you. No, you have to defend, like, okay, why do you want this? And it's like they always like asking him to, okay, like, do you think that you really deserve a solo? Like, always having to, stand up for yourself and what you really want. It's just that I think that for 10, there was certain unfairness, certain unfairness. And I think that he's tired of pushing it. There's something about him being like, I think that I can be good for my company, or I can be good for my for whoever works for me. I can be a good influence. I can be good. I can be great. So I think that there's something about him being like, I don't want to be fighting anymore. I think I deserve better. I think I can get to an agreement with people without having to, always having to defend myself, or always having to defend like why you should give me this and not the others. It's like this very competitive environment that he's like, I'm tired of having to, maybe feel like you have to. I don't see then like he has to bring other people down so he can lift himself up. But maybe there was a lot of not just competitiveness, but also a lot of comparison. Like, him saying like, I want this for myself, and people being like, oh, but what about this member? Don't you think that this member would do it better? And they bring in other people, along, and sort of, creating drama, and creating these very, nasty competitions that he's like, I don't have anything against any of the members. So why are you bringing, I'm talking about me, what I want, so I think that he left because of this, but also there's no hard feelings. He's like, I'm just trying to find a more fair treatment. That's all I want. And just, that things can be, more harmonious, more, that you can talk. I think that he wants to be under a company where there's like a female perspective or a female CEO, because he's like, I want to also connect with my emotions. I want to get along well with people. He probably wants to also, feel like more love and appreciated, and he's very sensitive person. It's just that he has been on sort of, fight, survival mode for a lot of years, because that's the industry, and that's why he is who he is. I think that there's something about 10 not being angry nor resentful towards the company that built him. He's very resilient because he was able to work under a lot of pressure, and he values that. He's like, I am I stand the way I stand today because of the lessons that they taught me. But now he's feeling more sensitive, with the King of Cups. He wants to be part of a team or part of a community where he can feel the love, where he can feel like, I can soften up a bit, I can put the guards down. I can get more artistic, I can flow, I can, let down a bit the shoulders, put down the ones, not fighting all the time. I want to be more at peace. I need to be more balanced spiritually and emotionally. I think that's why he did what he did. Also, he's looking for inspiration. I think that when it comes to work, there could be a collaboration because there's this woman. There could be a collaboration very soon. But I also think that maybe it's going to take a bit because with the justice, there's something about maybe he still has to sign certain papers, or he had to get the justice involved for certain, approvals or something like this. So yeah, it's going to take a while. Okay, let's see Lucas. Let's see Lucas. I have a reading for Lucas in 2026. I believe he's one of the first ones I did for soloists. I have a reading for Lucas. It's in the title. His name is in the live stream section. His name is in the title. Okay. Okay, for Lucas, we have the Fool, literally a new beginning, the Strength card. We have the Six of Pentacles, and we have the High Priestess. And then I have the Five of Swords that says defeat. So yeah, his situation it's a bit more about learning to give up a bit. The five of swords is giving me like, I don't think that there's a winner in this situation. I think that he feels it's not about him. Oh, I'm finally out. Like, I think that he feels a bit. I remember when I used to read for Lucas, I used to get, that he had a good relationship either with a mentor or with someone that was always like, even when he was in hiatus, they were always like with him, and they would build a sort of routine for him. He would always be working, perfectioning himself, even if he wasn't active. So I think that he had a bit of attachment to certain people in the company, or maybe there were people that they really promise him a lot of things, like, you have to be patient because your moment will come, we will give you this, you will come back. I think that they built a sort of like routine for him, so I think that for Lucas to leave SM after all of this, I think that also there's something about him, not wanting to give up. There was something about him being like, no, they promised me, I would have this if I continue, working, or, if I continue to be patient, if I stay here. So there's something just very like, he did put a lot of patience, he did. I think that there's something about the cards being like, you will have to still practice patience. I think that his career, it's going to be more fair. I think that there could be a possibility of him getting a deal, or him getting into a industry where they can pay him well, and so he can, also give something back, that is valuable. But it's all slow. It's all slow. A new beginning, but it's all slow. And I think that, his energy feels like grounded, but he also probably had a lot of faith in SM, or he put a lot of faith, in them. I don't remember exactly my last readings about him, but I think that he really believed in the company, or the company, some people in the company, or they really made him feel like, when he was in hiatus, they really held him, they really, um, they created a system for Lucas to not feel, like he was, like he was useless, oh, let's leave him over there, No, they really created a whole system, a whole training, a whole schedule for him, activities. I think that he, like I said, when I used to read for him, I never seen Lucas being, seated in there without doing anything. He just wasn't like, he wasn't public. What he did, or his schedule, or his training, or his work with others, you didn't see it. But he had, it was like he was in a sort of internship, he was in there, being productive. It's just that he wasn't shown, you wouldn't see him until they said, okay, he's back. But I think that things feel very slow for Lucas. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just that with the Five of Swords, this year could feel a bit like a defeat. He could feel like personally he didn't want things to be like this. But it's just that a new beginning is necessary. A new beginning is necessary for Lucas. I think that even him getting out of SM, it was a way. I think that he didn't want to, but I think that it was a way of also him finding a kind of independence, because there was I think that I said this, and I feel it when I read for Lucas, that I feel like there was a bit of attachment to the company. There was a bit of attachment, like he truly trusted them, like he really put his life, his career in their hands. They said, okay, we're going to handle this, and they really did it. Of course that we can be like, they didn't do their job well, but I think that when it comes to him as a person, they gave him everything, that they gave him a sort of a stability, and they held him, so they gave him something to do, so he wouldn't also get anxious. There was, this is why I get the feeling of like, wait, someday you're going to have this, you're going to have a comeback, a lot of promises. But so I think that he had like an attachment to the building, to the whatever he built with them. I don't want to say like with the CEOs, no, but there was like someone that was always with him. Or it could be certain members. He had a lot of fond memories. And I think that there's something about Lucas, that he's very slow when it comes to, new beginnings. He's really slow. It takes him a while, and this is not about, oh, this is traumatic. No, this is because, he just, he's very patient, and with the Fool and the Strength card, he has to practice more patience. Yes, a new beginning is coming. A new beginning is coming. And I think that, yeah, this is like, it has to be like this. He has to rebrand himself. There's something about like, okay, maybe his idol life, not being that, it's like, do not go back to that, because, maybe it's not for you. Maybe you should go into another industry or do something different with your image. Maybe not music. But with the Strength card, see, he has to remain, very strong, very resilient, not rushing things, and see what's available. Just see what's available. I see fairness in his future, with the Six of Pentacles. I see a fair exchange, either with a brand, with a company, or, with a industry. I think that wherever he's going to, wherever he's going to go, or, where he's going to go from here, is going to be a very fair, it's very transactional, but I think that everything is going to be very well, like, arranged or explained. The contract is also going to be very, specific. It's like, okay, you do this promotion for us, or you work for us, and we will pay you this. It feels like, it's going to be, probably he's not going to be like, oh my God, I feel so represented and so welcome by this industry. No, but it's work. It's going to be work. It's going to be work. And also with the high priestess, there could be a bit of, mysteriousness about his activities or his future activities, or maybe you've seen a bit of him. Maybe he will tell you, like, okay, I'm working on this, but there could be a bit of mysteriousness about his future this year, because it feels like it's a moment of, it's a new chapter in his life, so he has to remain patient. This is the word that I get. When I read this, I'm like, patience. Be patient, because it's not like it's going to skyrocket. It needs to be like this. It needs to be done with care, with organization, with fair, a fair exchange. So I wouldn't advise Lucas to go all the way, like looking for a new agency, company, or whatever. I think that is more like, if he can independently, go and look at what they are offering you. If this deal is good for you, if it's good money, you go and do it. You go and sign. But I don't see like a contract that is like long lasting. Oh, like the next 5 years. No, I think that it could be like an association or someone that pays him to, it feels very, like, I don't want to say spontaneous, but it feels like it's for a short period of time, like not eventual, it's eventual. It's not like a lot. It could be for a season, for example, like 3-4 months of working with these people. And then he's going to help him financially, of course, because, he has to, sustain himself, his needs. But the high priestess is like, you also have to, probably there's something also that he has to remain, a bit, not silent, but a bit mysterious about his future plans. Or if he signs a deal with someone big, just keep it hidden until it happens. Because, maybe things are very, about people in the industry, or maybe about fans, people are still not 100% accepting of him and whatever he's going to do. So he has to take it slow. If they are welcoming him and if they want to associate with him, well, great, take that, but don't push it. Don't try to insert yourself in rooms or situations where people are not sure about you. So yeah. Okay, let's see for this actress Kim Joo-hoon. Let's see. Kim Joo-hoon. A lot of work. Okay, 7 of Wands. We have the 3 of Pentacles. We have the King of Pentacles, and we have the 2 of Pentacles. Is she already filming something with someone? Because I see it. Because we have the High Priestess that is says intuition. So yeah, a lot of associations, a lot of work. I see a very strong person in here. So I wonder if this is like a co-star, a very famous one, definitely a strong vibe. but yeah, he's also, there's something about people doubting this project. So if they're working, if they're filming this, for her, it feels like, again, she has to put a lot of herself for this project to work. I don't know if the people that are creating this, if they have some differences, if there's a bit of like inconsistency. So she's like the one that is like defending the project, I would say. She's like, okay guys, let's organize. She's really like the one that puts the she's very grounding. She's all about technique. Also, she's very experienced. This man is also very experienced, this King of Pentacles. He's also very popular. He's probably very wealthy, or he has a great reputation. But we have the Two of Pentacles next to him. So I think that there's something about maybe the initial work or them working together. It feels very like, yeah, we are still reviewing our chemistry. Because maybe this man has an ego, so for her it's like, okay, I guess I will have to tiptoe around this person, because he also has her style. And I think that there's something just very, very interesting about her, that she's very much about defending, her team. It seems like, she worries about the staff, or she worries about people that work with her. She's like very pendant of like, let's all, work well together. So yeah. But in the case of this King of Pentacles, I see him more like he's not looking at the teamwork. He's looking at what benefits him, and he's like, well, I'm a big star, or I have, this reputation, or I have this, maybe he has a lot of hits, a lot of popular, work. So people really admire him a lot. So he's like, well, we'll see. I don't think that they are not going to get along. It's just that their views, the way they work, is very different. I see her work more, or having to defend more, in order to keep a good teamwork. And for him, it's more like, well, I just show up and I'm amazing, and that's it. So it's very interesting, because every time I read for actresses, and I can see the difference in what is expected of them, what is expected of an actress, and the co-star, or maybe the man that works with her, is like they basically are chilling. Most of the time they are chilling, and the one that is carrying the project is the woman. Yeah, the High Priestess, also intuition. She's probably not revealing that much. I don't know if this is going to be launched this year, but she's working, but she's not revealing that much. She's also feeling very intuitive lately. There's something about her observing a lot, not saying much. This is why I wonder if she gets a sort of vibe about this man. She's like, I can sort of see that, I will have to do extra, because I don't think that she sees that he's going to help her out, so she's like, okay, I will have to manage myself. Don't worry. But yeah, this is work related. This is not like, oh my gosh, she's going to have something with a co-star. No, because people usually think like this. Every time, a new couple alert happens about, these two people working together, people see it like romantically. And I think that for her, it's like, and also this man could be older than her. So they are in different, different, they work differently. It's not that they are in different, like, popularity wise. No, I think that it's more like she likes to get involved in the projects, and she's very pendant on the others, on helping others, and that everyone works well together, like a sort of producer. And him is more like, well, I just show up, and and everyone loves me already. So let's see about her love life. Okay, for her love life, we have Justice, we have the Four of Swords, we have the Five of Wands, and we have the Magician. So yeah, her love life, I actually seen it in here. I'm like, this woman is very focused on work. She's not that romantic. Actually, she, at least this year, she's not feeling it. I think that she's sort of married to her work. She's a very efficient person. This is why, when I see her doing more than the regular person. I see her that she gets really involved. That's why she probably, her energy, for her social life. Then when she has to, chill, she's really tired, because she puts all her energy in her work. She's very efficient like this. But also, the Justice and the Four of Swords, definitely it shows me first that she's a very intelligent woman. Thank God. I know, could it be that she's not a Libra, right? I believe she's a Virgo, but with the Justice, it could be a bit of Libra as well. The Four of Swords is also like a bit like, this is a woman that she doesn't get impressed that much. And probably men don't approach her that much because she has a very honest and just personality. So people know that they cannot, sell her BS. She's a bit like, you better do not contact me or do not start messaging me if you don't have, like, if you are not real, or if you want to mess around with me, I will not have it. I will block you. She's very, she's like, she wants to rest. Also, she wants to rest her mind. She doesn't want to get involved in drama. And also, I have to say this, there's not a person that is like suitable for her. There's not like interesting people in the dating pool. It's like, when I see these cards, I'm like, why everyone sucks? For her, it's like, there's no one that is like suitable for me, actually. They are all like not good for me. At least they are not her style. Maybe for others, few people are like, well, that's totally my type. For her, she has high standards. And I think that she's right because she's like protecting her mental health. She's protecting her mind. She's like, okay, if you come here with issues and, a very ambivalent, being double-faced and sort of wanting to play me, I will not have this. I'm a very, she's a very serious person. Yeah, Five of Wands and the Magician. Probably there's more than a guy. There's a lot of suitors for her, that they fight for her attention as well. I can see it. But she's like, I'm the most intelligent of them all, because she's like, they fight or they can compete, but, I'm not choosing any of them because I don't want them to disturb my peace. They can continue like fighting and wanting to impress me and wanting to do a lot of things for me. But I'm not impressed. She's not impressed. She's like, I know I deserve better. And this that you're giving me, or this piece of attention that you're giving me, or this little thing that you're doing for me, you think that this is what's going to get me to fall in love with you? No, do better. Do better. And also I think that she's like, I don't, I, she's like, she's not impressed by people that they are like, oh, because, I want to impress you, so I will compete with others or I will win you over. She's like, we are not in kindergarten anymore. Like, if you really want to impress me, like, do more, be more present, do things for me, do things that are meaningful, be intelligent, I think that she doesn't like people that are just impulsive. They're like, I don't appreciate that you get all impulsive with me. I don't find it like admiring that you are fighting or that you are competing with others for my attention. She doesn't work like that. She's a very chill person. And probably like the dating pool is really dry. It's really dry. It's like, there's the first thing that I thought when I saw her cards, I was like, there's no one. There's no one that is really suiting for her. There's no one. So yeah, I don't see it. Okay, I'm going to continue with this Taiwanese, I believe, actress Ariel Lin. Let's see for her. Is she hiatus? A very well deserved hiatus, like not a sad hiatus, but she's like, yeah, there's a grieving period. I wonder what is going on with her. Four of Swords, we have the Nine of Cups, we have the Queen of Swords in the middle, we have the Tower, and we have the Eight of Wands. Five of Cups, that is a loss. Yeah, I think that also she's very tough. If she's going through a loss, I think that something is changing in her emotional world. But also she's like a very, she's a very intelligent person. She's very also. I think that if there's something going on in her personal life, she's going to speak about it, or she's going to take the lead and maybe let people know that this is going on. That I think that she needs some restructuring in her life. She needs to rebuild, and I think that she's like destroying an old era of hers, or she's like letting people know, like, okay, this that you knew of me, this is over. This is the next thing that is going to come from me. She's also very communicative. I see that she's like, she leaves no room for speculations. Just that I see a bit of maybe a stop in her activities, but I think that for her emotionally, when she stops or when she takes a break, is her happiest moment. Maybe is to take care of her, emotional world, or to take care of her family, or to take care of herself. I think that she knows where to stop. She knows when it's time to win, or she knows when it's time to do things. But she also is very wise, and she's like, I need a vacation, or I need a break, or I need time to do this. So she's very intelligent. She's like very intelligent. It's just that maybe she has been going through things. She has been going through things, and I think that there's something about her being very, even brutally honest about certain things, maybe from the industry, maybe about her personal experience, but she's going to let people know. She's going to let people know, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, this is my life. Okay, this is my next project. Because there's something, I don't know how old she is, but she's a very mature person. And she's probably, I don't know if she's like the owner of her company, or if she's in charge, or if she's in charge of her family. But there's something about her calling the shots. She is like, besides, I believe she is an actress, but, besides her being an actress, she is the person that she is going to let you know how you're going to do things. She's like the spokesperson, and also she's the one that spills the tea. I think that this is a person that you don't need to ask her what is going on. She's going to tell you. And I think that she's going to say something. She's going to drop a bomb, that maybe she's like, I have something to tell you guys. This is what is going on. Because she's very clear, she brings clarity. She doesn't want people to speculate about her life or her future projects, and she has been going through something. I think that, there's something about maybe a potential work or a past work of hers that it sort of meant like it didn't go that well, even though she doesn't feel responsible. She's like a very strong figure. She feels like a very, like she's commanding here the readings, so she feels very authoritarian. She's like, I don't get attached to my work or to results. I just do what I have to do. I'm responsible, and she's like no BS. She's really like a visionary also. It's just that maybe emotionally she's going through something emotionally. I don't know if she lost a loved one, or she's having some issues with her family life, because it feels like it's emotional. But there's something about her letting people know that things are going to change, that her life is not that stable. With the Tower and the Eight of Wands, it's also her looking at the chaos, or her looking at certain things falling apart in her life, and being able to be like, okay, guys, yeah, this is going on with me, or this is what is going on, I don't know, in my family. So I need to let you know. She's also someone that acts very quickly. She acts very quickly. If she has something to say, she will say it, or if she has something to fix, she will fix it. But she's also fearless. There's something about her looking at the tower and being like, well, if it's not working, if it's falling apart, it's because it's not working. So it has to be destroyed. For her, she's not afraid of starting anew. She's not afraid of starting over. She's not afraid of, closing cycles. And actually, when things fall apart, she sort of sees it and she's like, well, that's part of life, or that's part of, um, that's part of that things are not meant to last that long. She's very tough like this. She's a person that if you ask her like, okay, how do you feel about this? She's like, well, suffering is part of life, something like this. But I see that it's something fast. It's a change, or it's an ending, or it's something fast. But why do I think that people will talk about it? Because with the Age of Wands, it's like as soon as it happens, people already know, or they already have the news. But yeah, she shows herself as this very assertive of sorts. But we have the Five of Cups that is as loss. So definitely, whatever is falling apart or is changing or is rebuilding in her life, it sort of represents a loss. Maybe there's a bit of sadness in her. There's a bit of I kind of feel sad about it. It's also that she doesn't want to show weakness. She doesn't want to show weakness. She's like, I'm not going to show you that, I'm affected. It's just that, I think that she has another priorities. This is why if things are not working, maybe for her future projects, or if there's something that she didn't reach an agreement with someone, so they are going to, separate, or they are not going to be working together. For her, it's like, well, it's meant to be. It's meant to be. She's protecting also her peace. She's like, I'm not. It's just that there's a part of her that she doesn't like to lose. Yeah, she wants to work for herself. She wants to heal. The Nine of Pentacles and the Temperance is like, well, if this I think that it has to do with an association or her working for others. She's like, well, this is my sign to actually start investing in me. And maybe start, like, I think that she's the owner of something, or she wants to be the owner of something. She wants to be her own boss. She's not, I'm not feeling like she wants to work with others, because there's a bit of disappointment. I don't know if she has been rejected for certain roles or certain opportunities. So she's like, I had enough. I had enough of you, waiting for you to give me the opportunity. I had enough. I'm going to work on my own, or I'm going to create my own show. And I see that she could do very well on her own. She has like a show on her own. She could do very well. Independence is key. Also, she is a queen. She's a queen. She probably has she probably has the experience, the intelligence to build something for herself, Ariel Lin is 43. So she's around my age. Yes. Yeah, I did notice the maturity. I was like, this is not enough mature. It's my first time reading for her. Yes. Thank you, Chachalina. Okay. Let's see for this new boy group, GLXE. It's a trio. I believe they have someone from Japan, from Korea, and from the Philippines. Philippines is a boy group. GLXE. GLXE. These names, I'm not fluent in English, but I don't understand and also I don't know if it's pronounced like this or if it's pronounced like, but well, it is like this. GLXE. The Queen of Swords today, it came out a lot, and now she's back here, the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Wands. So is a woman behind all of this? Is a woman behind all of this? Behind the creation of this. There's a woman in here. There's two women, actually. GLXE. Oh, GLXE. I'm so dumb. Thank you, Giorgiolino. Thank you. You're like my encyclopedia. I know that people don't use encyclopedia anymore, but you are my Wikipedia. Thank you. Okay. Okay, let's see. We have the Four of Wands. We have the Six of Cups. We have the Queen of Swords, and we have the Nine of Cups. Really good. Like I would say that they are doing better than some groups, I must say. Queen of Wands, determination. Yeah, a very passionate project. Yeah. Very nice, very happy vibes, very like, and also I think that they are using, I don't know if their concept is maybe, I don't know, 2000s or, something that is old, or maybe the old boy band style, because I see it with the Six of Cups. The Four of Wands and the Six of Cups is giving me like, celebration, the usual. I would even say they have a bit of cuteness also. There's a bit of like going back to the past, where there's something about them emulating the characters, the personalities of the boy bands that just started. It's like being sexy, but also being cute, and having cute interaction between them, and it's like, oh, we're family, but it feels like very innocent. And it feels like it has a very stable foundation. So maybe they have like a story or something that it feels very, it's very attractive. I think that there's a woman here, the Queen of Wands and the Nine of Cups. So yeah, this is like the idea or the fulfillment of a woman, the mind of a woman. So if they have a female CEO, if someone behind this is a woman, definitely. I think that she could potentially be very, very successful in the group in consequence, because there's something that in here I don't see. Literally, there's no struggles, no hardships. Everything is possible. Everything is happy. Everything is a celebration. Everything is full of excitement, and there's a bit of nostalgia as well. This is why. I think that the woman that is behind this, there's something about her wanting to maybe, remind people or remind audiences of how it felt to spend your favorite group back then in the early 2000s, or maybe even prior years to that. Because I think that it's like, let's unite, let's get together to celebrate the music that we love, the guys that we love, the girls that we love, and everything is a celebration. There's no room for sadness, nor like, oh my God, like I worry, nor scandals, nor this is like a very good investment. And I think that for her, it's like, there's a sense of this person is very intelligent, also very like like Lee Suman with when he created the system of NCT, like neo culture technology. Well, she is a bit like a visionary as well. She's like thinking about the future, thinking about futuristic things that it has to do with satisfying the client. I say the client because I feel it like this, more like the fans is like we have to satisfy the clients. We have to give them the best experience possible. And actually it's very interesting because when I just started the live stream, we were talking about, working in customer service, and how experience is important more than the product that you are consuming or you are buying. And I think that this woman, she's very intelligent, very resourceful, and she's like, yeah, let's go to the future, but also let's bring back, client satisfaction. I want my clients to be satisfied with what I'm creating. I want them to be satisfied. I don't want them to, I want to create a sort of safe haven where you can be a fan of something and you're not going to be afraid that reality or, yeah, being human, basically, being human, being complex, is going to ruin the fun for you. So she's like presenting all of this. And then, I have the Queen of Wands that it says determination. So probably they will have also passionate fans, people that are also, they're going to be very passionate about this. There's another woman also that I think that they are going to sort of, come in to assist her, or it could be, the same fans somehow, being like, we want to join also. We want to give you our ideas because we are determined to make this work. Like, we want more of this. So we have determination too, or we know things too, so we can help you. So do you want us to give you, like, I see fans getting involved, but I don't know why. I don't want to say fans. I think that these are consumers. These are clients, people that are buying the experience of this group. And this group is giving them what they want. It's literally, with the 9 of Cups, is emotional fulfillment. It's like, this group is giving me exactly what I want. So yeah, really nice. I will have to check them out also. I will have to, but a lot of female energy. Like I see that they're going to do very well. Believe it or not, they're going to do very well. Yeah, because there's no obstacles in here. There's no obstacles because it's like the birth of an idea, the birth of technology, the birth of using technology in your favor. And I think that this person sees it. Yes, yeah, and I think that more and more people are going to go to that. Yes, they are going to go for that group, their kind of group. Yes, so I think that she's like one of the first, but then more women are going to join. And I see women writing this. I see women coming up with women that, of course, when I say women, I'm talking about women that have like a strong willpower and also intelligence and also determination to make this work. This is not about, I'm creating something funny for me and my friends. No, this is serious. This is serious. This is the future for I don't know about the music, but I think that it's about, giving you an experience that you are going to be so submersed in this that you don't want to leave, because they will give you only pleasant interactions, music, happiness, so everything is going to be always positive, always. Is built like this. And I think that maybe, this is going to be more and more popular, because I think that people, because of, how things are changing in the group's dynamics, or how, certain, guys and girls, they are having their issues with the industry, and how they are overworked, and how the treatment is so bad, that there's probably going to be a lot of, real idols not wanting to do this job anymore. So maybe the AI is like the future, is what is what you have available, and this they can assure the fan that they are not going to go anywhere unless the creator decides to disband them. I don't know, but I think that but I see I see it's so positive. It's like a win-win situation. It feels like very like a good creation. It feels like a good creation. Like there's no losses in here. Yeah, no cheating allegations. No member leaving the group or the company kicking them out. It's so crazy how the future is going. It's so crazy. But well, it's the AI is here already, so yeah. Okay. SNSD future future in SM, if there's a potential of them having a comeback. SNSD future in SM. I mean, they are greater than SM, I would say. I think that SM is just very small. Well, I mean, SM nowadays, SM nowadays is very. It feels very small to what these girls represent, or what the legacy represents. And also I think that literally when I see this, I think that also there's. I don't know about who is managing SM. But there's something about girls' generation and probably groups of, girls' generation, age and legacy, that, these women, they know more about the business than the people that are running the company today. So there's something about them managing themselves. And it's not about like the company being like, okay, how can we make you, how can we give you this? They are like, we already have been given everything. And we had already been denied things. So for them, it's like, you cannot tell me anything because I heard it all. I went through all the stages. So, they are literally queens, but they're like, I think that there's a bit of freedom also in them, that they don't care. They don't care because, the girls are maturing and they probably have their legacy. They have their business besides being part of SNSD. They have their personal life that also are very fulfilling. So, their experience being an artist of SM is not that, it's more than that the company benefits of some of them being there than, or talking about them than them, being like, oh, because SM is paying me. No, they're like, we don't want it. Like, I can get more money doing something else. You don't, you don't do anything for me. You don't do anything for me. But there's also something that they are like, it's not that complex, the relationship that they have with the SM, It's not bad. It could be bad, but it's not bad. We have the World for SNSD. We have the Queen of Pentacles. We have the Magician. And we have the Nine of Wands. And then I have the Page of Swords that says Curiosity. So yeah, I think that I mean, like I said, I think that the girls are advancing. The girls they are not stuck. I think that when it comes to SM, they were able to advance with different eras, so they don't feel like and they were able to. I want to say they were able to make good money. I have the Queen of Pentacles in here, so there's something about richness, about status. The members of SNSD. I don't know about all of them, but I must tell you, at least this is what I see in the cards. These are rich ladies. they have a lot of money. I know that they are probably had worked a lot, not only on SM, they had worked a lot on different fields, on different opportunities, but these ladies are no ordinary ladies. These are not like, oh my God, I'm broke and I'm waiting for SM to write me a paycheck. No, no, they are very independent. They're very self-sufficient. They probably work for themselves, or they have their individual activities. So it's like they don't need money or status, or there's a lot of fame also. So they are in another level. This is the thing. I think this is why I'm like, the company, it seems like the company is lately is feeling like a very small place for people like them. It feels like SM has been reducing their glory, and for the girls it's like, sometimes we feel a bit embarrassed to be associated not with SM, what it represents, but there's something about the management that they are like, these people are clowns. We are like, yeah, and they're like, oh, what about SM? Did you see what SM did the other day? Did you see? And they're like, yeah, we heard. Yeah. Just like we all feel when you stand in SM group that you're like, yeah, I know. I wouldn't expect less of SM to do this kind of thing. Well, they feel the same. They're like, yeah, you know. But yeah, also the magician and the nine of cups. I think that they also, they know that the scene, the K-pop scene, is very competitive, and I think that they could, do a comeback, or they could do, certain activities, but there's something about not all of them making it. Because the nine of wands is like, I think that there's certain people that they are very tired, or I don't know if they had booked already, if they had signed up already for other activities. And I think that there's people that they are like, we will do it, because they are, when it comes to creation and maybe coming back as a group, they are very creative, and they have the presence, and they have, the energy, and they are like, yeah, we want to show the fans something new, or we want to give the fans something different. But at the same time, there's a lot of, it feels very tiring, or it feels like they will have to put up with a lot of inconsistency from the company, or maybe the company not giving them, what they need. So I think that for them, it is a bit, it's a bit like, you know, it's like you have to be super patient to do, group activities under a SM, because SM, makes it very, it drains you. They drain your initial excitement, or they drain your initial desire to participate. Because I don't know if they make it difficult on purpose so others cannot join, because I think that they do this, where probably, the ones that are no longer in SM, they make it difficult for them. So the person is going to be left in a position of like, well, I cannot join, guys. Why did you set this date if you knew that I'm busy doing this? Why didn't you guys wait for me to finish this so I can do this too? There's favoritism, of course. There's, a level of, divide and conquer. They always do this to the people that are no longer part of the company. They do the differences, even though they claim that oh no, because it's important for the group and we want the group together. No, they make it very, very, very specific, the differences in treatment, and they create chaos and drama and change in schedules on purpose, so they can resent each other. But I can kind of see that they want to do something for the fans this year. Yeah, page of sorts, curiosity. So yeah, there's a still curiosity. The girls also, I think that it's not that they are tired. I think that when it comes to the group, they are like, we can still do something more for the fans. We could still, arrange something. Like, I don't think that it's going to be something big, but it could be something meaningful for the fans. Yeah, yeah, I think that they could initiate the comeback, but we have the tower, we have the page, and we have the four of wands. It's just that it's going to be so it's going to be so difficult for them to get the product, because probably something is going to fall out, or something is going to happen externally, that probably they have been working on something and suddenly that is no longer an option, or that gets canceled, or that gets destroyed. So a lot of instability probably is because of the company. So they will have to start all over. They will have to reschedule. They will have to see another possibility to work for, or to hire someone else, for the music or the creation. But I can see that, maybe at the end of the year, they could, because they want to give the fans something. They want to create something. I don't know. Do they have like an anniversary or something like that? But they want to. And also the girls are like I said, they're queens, but also with the magician, the girls are like as good as these rookies that just debuted. The amount of energy that these girls have, or the amount of abilities and talents that they have, it's like time hasn't passed for them. Time hasn't passed for them. They experience it all. They're like, next year is their 20th anniversary. Yeah, but they are really good. They like, and this I don't know much about girl groups, especially when we talk about SNSD, and that era. But I must say, I don't know, because I'm reading cards and I don't see member for member, but I'm like, these girls are doing very well. Like, physically, mentally, like, they are doing very well. So that's also congratulations to them, or to whoever was able to provide for these girls like a healthy environment, or maybe helping them out, or them helping each other out. I know that they went through a lot of things. But one thing I can say is that these girls are not broke. So, that takes a lot of hard work also, because it's not enough to be like, oh, I'm part of this group, that is legendary. There's also that you have to, build your brand, that you have to differentiate yourself from others, that you have to cultivate your own talent, your own niche, to not be like everyone else. And I think that they have done very well, because usually there's certain groups, that they have, unfortunately, they have, a lot of members that you're like, what happened to them? Going through a lot of, mental health issues, physical issues, and in this case, I don't see it for these girls. But maybe they were trained differently, maybe they have a support system, or maybe they come from a background, maybe family background, that they really are very well taken care of, even when they started, in the industry. So this is why it feels like they are, they can do well on their own. They don't need a SEM. But they also have a huge commitment towards, the image of the group, and also they want to give the fans the best experience. They don't want to give average. If they don't do something, it's because they don't feel like it's good enough for them, for their image, or for what they think that the fans deserve. They are very specific about, we don't want lame things. Don't give us lame, because, no, the fans are watching. Okay. Let's see this question about, Jungkook, that this person says that Shamans had said that, JK should avoid women because of bad luck, that he can avoid these scandals, Let's see. Let's see if they're true. Okay. Okay, for this question for JK about him having to avoid women for bad luck or because of bad luck, this is what allegedly some shamans had said about his luck. Let's see. We have Temperance, we have the King of Pentacles, we have the Tower, and we have the High Priestess. And then we have the Seven of Swords that it says scarcity mentality. Scarcity mentality. No, I think that, the Seven of Swords, it's, if you think about the Seven of Swords, it's literally, someone like trying to sneak or trying to avoid or trying to, I don't think that like I said at the beginning, I don't think that this, bad luck and all of these things, it's not about avoiding. It's about being selective. It's about choosing well. And even when you think that you choose well and that you are like someone that knows it all, relationships are complex. People are complex. He also, I think that it's so, reductive, and also it's very like that mentality of he should avoid women, and what about him? Why the women are the problem? The women in his life are going to ruin everything for him. And what about him? What is he? Is he a robot? Is he like a slave to his circumstances? No, he chooses also. It's just that he has to learn to choose well. In here we start with the Temperance and the King of Pentacles, and I think that when it comes to women or women energy, I think that also JK is someone that he's very blessed. We have the Temperance that for me is like the guardian angel. So definitely there's no good luck. There's no bad luck that can affect, someone like JK, especially because he's someone that he has been, protected somehow through his, journey to success. He's a very successful person, very rich person, very like with a lot of attention on himself. He had, worked really hard to be where he is. And definitely he's no regular man. This is a very rich, influential man. And I think that he has protection. And also I think that he's a very optimistic person. He's a very optimistic person. He's very optimistic about meeting new people. He's just like, there's something just very healthy about, even if he's very rich and he's in a very material world, because of his influence and his popularity, probably everyone wants to benefit of his image or of his popularity. People want to make money of him. People want to steal money from him. It's really hard when you are really like wanted and when people just want to take benefit of this. But I think that he spiritually, there's no bad luck for JK in love or relationships. There's no bad luck because whatever happens, he will always find a way to be protected by this. Even if things fall apart, and even if relationships fall apart, and even if I think that he's someone that he has like a good karma. There's something just he had done the work in prior lives, and I usually don't talk about prior lives because, People sometimes, get very fixated about, I don't know about past lives, nor I don't believe in twin flames and all those things. But I think that he probably in past lives, he was probably he was like a monk, or he was someone that he was able to, you know, experience, the highs and lows of human nature and how we feel and what and what we crave and what is positive and what is negative, the yin and the yang. So I think that he has energetically, he's someone that, okay, yeah, in this life he has to, master more like, material gain and success and money, and he has to maybe focus more on that, on protecting his assets, or his incomes instead of, thinking about relationships. Because the problem is this, the problem with JK's lack is not, it's not about his ability or not to find a good person. It's about money. It's about money. Is that, he effortlessly, accumulates this sort of wealth, and maybe there's a lot of envy. But yeah, also with the Tower and the High Priestess, if there's one thing that I would be like, okay, avoid it, I would say he should avoid, people that are, that he feels like they are keeping things from him, But at the same time, the Tower, it's a very external kind of, experience. And I think that for JK, like I always tell you in every JK love reading, romantic reading, the problem comes from outside. The problem comes from outside. It's not about his relationships. It's about people invading his life and wanting to make it public and wanting to talk to everyone and being an exposed JKs. Relationships, dates, friends, girlfriends, female friends from, I think that people destroy it. People will destroy it in the beginning phases because they don't want him to be with someone. So I think that the issue here is not who he dates, is that people will continue to invade his privacy. This is external. This comes from the others. This comes from the outside. It's not him. It's not him. He doesn't have bad luck. And also, about this, like he should be careful of women. I think that it's not about the women he dates. He should be scared of women in general, that they want to destroy him because they cannot have him. And also there's a lot of infiltration. In here with the High Priestess, I see it. I see people pretending to be someone or pretending to work for him so they can insert themselves in his circle so they can spill the tea because they want to get money out of him. I wonder if he was like at some point, or if he's going to be like blackmailed. There's a lot of people wanting to make money out of him the wrong way, trying to expose his intimate, moments, his intimate relationships, or if he goes on a date, and this I said it all the time. If you go back to my all the romance readings, when it's JK's turn, I always tell you, they always ruin it from the beginning. The moment they know or they find out that they take pictures, usually those pictures are from, very first encounters of him meeting someone. Maybe first date, second date, and of course, once the person, the woman sees that, they are starting to harass her online, the woman will disappear also because they are afraid. They are afraid of there's a lot of fear here, so they destroy it. They destroy it. It's like this. It's like this. There's a lot of people working on anonymous to destroy every possibility for him. So I don't know. I think that also the High Priestess is the key. Is to find a way to not tell us all. Keep it as hidden as possible. But definitely how he has been doing it, and probably how he is going to do it these 2 years, is still going to get exposed. He has to come up with a system. He has to come up with a system where they cannot catch him. It's going to be the only way. It's going to take a lot. I don't see him getting into a real relationship because he has to, I don't know, do it in a bunker or something like this, because there's a lot of ninja work in here. There's a lot of, like, disguised people. And women, they are all women, because the high priestess represents the women. So it's not about, poor JK, that he meets these women that they can break his heart. No, it's the crazy fans. It's the fans. I don't know if it's the fans. I don't know if you can call it fans, but it's these people, because it can be, fans, but also I think that it can be people that they want to make money out of this. So I don't know if there's like, people that if there's like a system or an enterprise, or if there's, certain, maybe from the journalists, that they pay very well. If they have footage or if they have pictures, they do pay very well. Because the thing is to make money out of him, out of his image and how important he is. But yeah, see, Seven of Swords, scarcity mentality. He has to... the only way he can, avoid these crazy people is somehow avoid them, run away. Like, as soon as he has to get very intuitive also. He has to work on his intuition. As soon as he gets, be suspicious, like, I think that someone is spying on me, change locations, move, get out of your house, move, have different houses. I don't know. But, unfortunately, it's like this. It's like you have to be jumping around and moving locations, because they will find you. If you stay in that same spot, they know. They already have everything installed. I wonder if they have things installed in his house as well. Yeah, but I don't see the yes, I totally agree, Dracula, but I don't see that strong woman appearing so far, because this is so frightening that I think that, it's like, oh my God, like, it leaves you to a position where you're like, is this really worth it? I don't think so. Hey, Fluffy. Do you think that he should date a foreigner and move out of Korea? Yeah, I think that probably it should be better. But when you say foreigner, I don't see like a foreigner. No, it has to be Korean American, Korean / another ethnicity. Because I don't see another ethnicity. I have the Page of Swords is literally, for me, it's always Asian, because I have another deck that the suits of Swords, you have Asian people. And also I have the Hierophant. So see, the Page of Swords and the Hierophant, it's about, tradition. So I'm not like that kind of person that when they read the cards or astrology or whatever, they're like, they're going to marry a foreigner. Like, for JK, I don't think that, it has to be, it has to have a bit of his culture. He's someone that is very traditional. In this, probably his family is also very traditional. So the person will have to be Korean, and maybe living somewhere else. But it has to be Korean. And I do see happiness and, future, and ability to, happiness and ability to advance. So yes, yeah, it could be someone that lives overseas, that they can, yes. But yeah, I think that would be, but he has to, and I think that the person also has to be very intelligent. Both of them have to become like sort of like CIA agents, FBI agents, like, special services kind of, very investigative. Like, you have to know your enemy. And in this case, I know that probably, these people that do this, they think that they do it because they love him, but they are really like, they are like attacking his life, and his ability to have happiness, to be loved. And I think that, with what they're doing is like they are sort of creating this very, and they want this, they want this to sort of create this weird reputation on JK. Like, he has crazy fans. You know that if you date him, they will come for you. And they say it like, oh, like it's an achievement, oh yeah, we're scary. Yeah, we're scary. I don't know. I think that it's dangerous. It's dangerous. So no women would get near. I don't know. I think that in Korea they're like, who, him? No, I pass. Thank you. I pass. I know about the rumors. I pass. But maybe, like I said, maybe a Korean American, someone that knows a bit about K-pop, but they don't know that much. Someone like that, they could be a good match for him. He is protected spiritually, thank God. Yes. Because he did create good karma from his prior lives. So he's, he's a good person. Yeah, once he's less in the spotlight, it will get better. Yes. But this had come out, like, I remember when I read for him 2 years ago. It hasn't changed. And I told you that they were not going to stop. When I did these readings, like for the invasion of his privacy, I told you guys, this was before he enlisted. I told you they are not going to stop. I remember there was like this night of ones. They are so passionate about this. They are so blinded by this. They are so blinded in determination. They are not going to stop. They are not going to stop. And also, if even if he tells them, like, I don't think that he will, but even if he wants to tell them, like, please guys stop, they don't listen. They just act. They are like horses, they go, and let's see. Okay. Let's see. This question was chances of BTS headlining Coachella maybe next year. Let's see. Chances of BTS headlining Coachella. Could it be someone already said yes to next year? I don't see all of them. I don't think that is the group. It's some members. Maybe 3. For this question, for chances of BTS headlining Coachella next year or next time in, I don't know, guys, when Coachella happens. I'm sorry. Page of Wands. 4 of Wands. We have Knight of Pentacles and we have Knight of Wands. So I'm like, why do I feel like this is already moving? Like the idea is already planted. This is not something like, oh, we are thinking about this. No, there's someone that is already said yes to this. Ace of Wands, inspiration. They definitely were inspired by, maybe they saw the people performance and they were like, that's so cool. We want to do it as well. Or we want to go there as well. They are so passionate about this even. Like, and poor guys, because they are going to be touring a lot this year. But honestly, I think that they are not going to run out of energy. I mean, some of them. I don't see that is like, a whole BTS Coachella thing. No, I think that is some of them appearing and maybe doing a collaboration with other people that they are going to be the ones, headlining. Yeah, but I think that they are so positive about Coachella. I think that they see it like a very fun experience, and they are like, it would be so cool if I could do it. I see a soloist, I see a member, and also I see them going, I don't know if this year, if they had the possibility to go, and just watch performances, but definitely next year, I see them that they're going to be there. They're going to be there. They're going to assist because they see like we want to be there because it was such a party that, and maybe they have friends that went there. So they're like, we want to go and just being with our friends. There's going to be a huge celebration. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we will go. Why do I see like 3 of them? 3 of them. Knight of Wands, Knight of Pentacles. I think that probably the one that is like the first one, the page, is going to be more like prepared. Like it feels like, it's going to be like a true performance, maybe of, having like a set list or something like this. Then the other ones could jump on the stage somehow, appear on the stage and just be there, But I see that there's one of them that is like the main act. It's like the main. I want to say the main guest, like they invited me. It's still, he feels, the page it could be JK because, it feels like the magnet, it feels like the youngest, but very passionate about this. So I think that it could. Because there's a lot of adventurous, like, them thinking about Coachella is like going to a party. It's not so much like, oh, I have to go and, give the best show of my life. No, it feels like it's more, I don't know how is it for the artist, but it feels like it's more like, maybe it's different than a concert. It feels like let loose a bit, like, yeah, I can go and just do this and do a bit of this and have fun with the audience. And it's not like that, like, I don't want to say like it doesn't have a structure, but it feels like it's more like a party situation, or people that go there is more like a party situation than them, thinking like, oh my God, I have to study step by step and I have to, Nevertheless, I see this guy, one of them that is probably going to do the whole presentation. He definitely is, the 4 of Wands is still a 4. So there's a lot of organization, it feels very fun, but nevertheless, it's still important. It's still a work, it's not about like, well, I'm YOLO here, I'm like, being spontaneous and just going with the flow. He's like, yeah, but no, I'm still a pro. So I don't want to disappoint people, I want to train, but I see other people joining. It could be other members, but it could be also another people that are famous. And I think that there's one. I think that there's one that is going to be already announced that is going to be with him, but then there's another one that just appears out of nowhere. So yes, and inspiration, Ace of Wands, it's already installed in their minds. It's already like the fire is already burning. They really want to do it. They really want to. I don't know about a group, but they would really want to do it, and maybe see a member doing it. Maybe hobby or JK, yeah. Okay, the last one that I have. One that is about the future of Philippine pop. Is it P-pop? P-pop. The future of Philippine pop in global stage. Let's see. It's good. I think that they really are, I don't know globally, but I think that probably in their homeland they're doing great. Just that they are very emotional. Could it be that Philippine people are very emotional? Or the idols, I don't know if they are called idols, but the artists, are they very emotional? Because I feel it. And I think that they need to work on that. Because probably they cry a lot. I don't know why I want to say this, but they're so thankful that you support them, but at the same time, if there's maybe a misunderstanding, they take it too hard. They really feel like they cry their hearts out or something like this. Okay, 2 of Cups, the Strength card, the King of Cups, and the 9 of Swords. But we have the 9 of Pentacles, so it says abundance. It says abundance. So definitely, I think that they do very well. They do very well, or the Philippines pop, is really, maybe it's really popular over there. Like for their people, it's very, it's really good. And maybe also, about the global stage, I could see, certain people. Like I think that they in the global stage, I don't see advances, but I think that people have like really nice things to say about certain artists. It's like, oh, they're from the Philippines. Oh, they're so talented, or this music that they did is great. So there's something just very nice about Philippine people. It's just that they are too nice. There's something that in here that I'm like, why are you crying? Like, why? Like, could it be that if they make a mistake, they say sorry a lot, or they apologize to the fans, and it feels like they are just very affected by this? I think that they should work a bit more on this, because, and also artistically, because I see Cups, there's some good lyrics, there's maybe a lot of good storytelling. Romance also, could it be that they are really good at portraying romance? Romantic stories, romantic lyrics, romantic, like, like you feeling like you are in, in a drama, or like the atmosphere it's just that I think that the singers, or if this is actors, it could be as well, they get too emotionally invested in whatever work they do. And if they have a good relationship with the fans, they are, very, it's like you're like, you know how, usually when we think about idols, when we think about celebrities, there's a level of, mysteriousness, or there's a level that you don't have access, to certain things from them. And I think that from maybe Philippine artists, it feels like there needs to be certain boundaries, because maybe people get too attached, and also the artist doesn't know how to hold back. It's like they're so thankful that you love them or that you're supporting them, that they will also give you, their love, or they will be hugging you, or just thank you, and just being honestly like very, very sweet. But yeah, I see, because I see someone here. I don't know if this could be like an artist, a singer that went through something or is going through something, in the Philippines, in this pop scene. But I see that for people that are very emotionally invested, they sometimes, they get, the consequences, I would say, of you being too immersed in maybe wanting to satisfy the fans. um, Somehow being a people's pleaser. When you are emotionally attached to your audience, or to, you're so thankful, and it's like, and I think that there comes a moment where they cannot, if there's something that is wrong, or that, the fans consider like, oh, you didn't give us that much attention, oh, I guess you're busy, or I guess you don't care about us anymore. There's a lot of manipulation also. So it's like we were talking about, at the beginning of the live stream, about, even if you give, a client, you give them the best, the best experience ever, they will not remember that. They will remember the day that you didn't give them something specific. It's like, oh, you were so rude that you didn't give me this. When I left, you didn't give me this. So it's all about, remembering this that you didn't give me, and fans can be ungrateful sometimes, or taking the artist for granted. So I would advise them, to, yes, because they are a very loving kind of, maybe it's a cultural thing, but they are so open, and they are so, I think that they they rely a lot on, please love me, or please like my work, or please accept me, or please, be there for me. So it feels like it's too emotional, and I think that it's like they're too close to the audience. And that's the issue, that I would say that it's not only for Philippines pop. I think that probably it's the entertainment industry as a whole. But there's abundance. So they have the potential, I think that people from other countries, or other, from a global stage, they have very good, things to say about Philippine artists. And so, there's abundance. There's maybe people being like, they're super talented, they are very artistic, or I love that song of theirs. So definitely, there's the potential. Definitely. Definitely. Okay, guys. This was it for today. It was fun. Thank you so much for joining today on Labor's Day. I hope that you guys are able to, not go to work today. I hope that you have a holiday. Here is I believe it's international holiday, but I don't know about you guys. Okay, guys. So I'll see you on Sunday. I'll see you on Sunday. I don't know. What should we talk about on Sunday, guys? Do you have any ideas? Because then, if you guys are not around, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I will post, but since we are so close to Sunday, because today it's Friday, so if I create a post, I don't know if people will leave recommendations. But because idols, those idols, I believe I read for some of them, so I don't think that I have someone on my list. Yeah, I know. Yes, I know Fluffy Northern. Yeah. 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 Sometimes you guys are not around. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Here it's early in the morning. Yes. But yeah, then I will on the tarot, part of Discord. I will leave the question if you guys want to leave me recommendations in there. I would appreciate it because I could do like friendship readings. I don't know if I did friendship readings already this year. I think I did some. Another thing that it could be interesting is, I had this series that it was mysteries in K-pop, that we had certain like questions like Mark and Hechan fight, and then I had Jimin and Jonghyun of Twice. We could do a part 2 of that. Mm. Oh, Daiki Suneta. Mm. Yes, thank you. It's just that, um, it's just that about mysteries in K-pop it's like it's supposed to be, like, yes, it's like mystery, but I think that people sometimes when you say mystery or mysterious situations, or people get very like conspirative, and it's more like, oh, was this person dating this, and was this person dating the other, and I think that I want to avoid this, because it's not about like, oh, I suspect or I have this theory. It's more like based on what happened, like, and I think that people don't know how to formulate a question, or a request. There's something that sometimes I feel like recommendations that I'm like, it's like, yeah, I know, me neither. Yes, me neither. Chen Lei, Chinese actor. Chen Lei. Okay. Mm. Yeah, that also. Yeah, because there's a lot of shady things in the, yes. We know it. We know it. The cards know it. The tarot also knows it. So um also the other day, I had someone that DM me, because she said that it was fine for me to share it if I wanted to share it. But remember that the other day we were talking about like this Cannes festival, that it was like, it's not the movies, but it's for series. And that we were talking about Jisoo and Ambo Hyun, that they were on the same, event. They were at the same event in that, um, and there was this subscriber of mine that she was like, I want to know, she requested a reading for, to see if they ran into each other or if they saw each other and what they felt for each other, and it was so interesting. Like, the reading was short, but it was short, and it was like, it's not about being short or not. It was very specific, because basically from Jesus' part, she was like, cut it. She was like, I will not go back to that man ever. Like, really, like, I had no, like, I was like, wow, this is like a lot. But she's like, and I don't, it's like, I don't want to, I didn't see it like she was like, oh my God, because I don't want to see his face ever. But I think that probably she's a bit tired of people still mentioning him, or she's like, I'm just not the type of person that I would go back, or I would be that person. I think that there's no emotion from her part, and also I believe she got the 10 of cups, and I don't know if it was the death card or it was the tower, but it was like, no happy ending for us, like no happy ending for us, like no, no, you know. And from his part, I did notice a bit of attachment. Yeah, from his part, I believe he got the devil, he got the Queen of Cups, and he got the Page of Cups, I believe. So, but for me, it was like him. I don't know why I feel like the attachment is very strange, because I kind of see him like trying to pay attention if he would run into her or if he would see her, like sort of being pendant on her, if he would see her, like still feeling the curiosity and really wanting to see her, and just feeling uneasy, when you have a still that, that you're like, I kind of want to see them, and it doesn't have to be love, but it's like, I have this, longing, kind of. But there was this Queen of Cups, and I know he was in there because he was promoting a movie, and there was another actress, very beautiful actress. So, but I don't think that this Queen of Cups is her. I think that it's probably, if it's her, it could be her that she finds him attractive, but it could also be that there's a woman in his life, or there's like I don't want to say like a a relationship, because I don't see that he's like looking at her. It's more like there's a woman around him, or there's like a woman that works with him, that she is so in love with him, that she's so in love with him, that she probably is like, they have, they work together or something like this. So she's like, every time I'm near him, I love him. I'm so in love. Probably this woman has been in love with him for so many years. This is why I'm like, it could be a staff, someone that is always with him. But I can kind of see him being still attached to Jisoo, like somehow being like, I kind of miss her, or if I see her, I feel like, I don't know if it's love. It could be dependency a bit, like, when you are like the one that got away or something like this, it feels very like that. It's not like, oh, I will go back to her. And probably, because from Jesus' part, it's like, I moved on. Yeah, Jisoo and Ambohyun. I had a subscriber that, the other day that I was mentioning on the live stream, that I seen both of them, not together. I seen clips of them assisting this Cannes show. And she was like, I'm so curious about how they felt, if they ran into each other and how they feel for each other. And so she was like, you can share it, because she was watching the live stream and she got the idea from this. And then she was like, I'm okay if you want to talk about it, with anyone that is interested. Yes, the actor she was dating, yes. But yeah, from her part, it's like, No, it's like, no, thank you. No, but I swear when I put the cards, I wanted to laugh out loud. Like I was so like like Jisoo, like what, like. But I believe when I read for them a couple of years ago, it wasn't that cutthroat, But in this period in her life, she's like, no, I pass. I don't want to be associated with that. Like, no. Maybe she's tired of people. Maybe people bring it up a lot, or they mention him, or there's something, that she's like, she's like, no, no. So yeah, that's the funny story. That's the funny story of that reading. Oh, it was hilarious. It was hilarious the way she cut. You know how she said, what was it, like a Taylor Swift song? There was a Taylor Swift song that it was like, "We'll never ever ever get back together." Well, that's how I felt when I saw the cards from her part. She was like, "No." Uh, uh, Yeah, who know what happened between them? Maybe she has her reasons to be so against it. Yeah, I think that, yeah, because when they broke up, we pulled cards. Then I remember in a live stream we also did. I think that we came up with certain questions. To see what went wrong. Why it didn't work, and I believe we asked the tarot like who was initiating, the breakup, who initiated the breakup, and everything. Um, but I didn't see her like she was like the kind of breakup that you are like friendly, that you are like, yeah, I'm busy. Literally, it was about be busy, and I think that like I said, there were a lot of people that also they were buzzing in her ear, so she was a bit confused. Um, but he also has his things. Like I said, um I would suspect a lot of Gemini placements on him, a lot of like hot and cold, like even when you think that he says that he's super in love with you, he can move on pretty quickly. Um, so, but, but it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Like, I'm like, I think that until this point, a lot of years have passed. So maybe she's a bit annoyed. She's like, I don't want to talk about him. Like, please don't associate me with him anymore. Um, Yes. Yeah. Probably Venus in Gemini. He's like, he can be very gentle, but I think that once he notices that you are changing your mind about him, or that you want to leave him, that's when he was like, okay, you know, I'm cool. You want to break up? Okay, it's your choice. Um, mm. By the way, did you remember you had read for Chan Lin Ha before, like Pursuit, before Pursuit of Jade? Did I? I don't remember. Did I read for him? I don't remember. Maybe it was in the Chinese actors, right? Because I remember actor and just like he's super ambitious. Ah, yeah, maybe I didn't. I don't remember. Yeah, because maybe he was, when I used to read, when I started reading for Chinese actors, there were a lot of names. And since, I didn't know, I noticed that his name would appear, but now I understand, I can match name and face, but I remember one of the first ones that would always be like mentioned in the channel is Shukai, is it? And then the other one is, well, Xiao Lucy. Um, There's another one. I don't remember. Not too long ago, like a few months ago, maybe. I remember seeing his chart, all the stellium, and was like, his life must be hard work. Okay. It was his green and red flags. Yeah, Xiao Shan and Wu Lei. Yes, those names, I know it. I know them. Yes, I know them. Then there's one that is Liu Wu. Could it be Liu Wu? Well, now I remember Denkai because of, we had been reading for him for Denkai, so I remember Denkai. They did so well astrologically for those two to representing that toxic relationship, because her being a Taurus sun, I believe her moon is in Virgo. Someone told me that her moon is in Virgo. Her being a Taurus and him being a moon in Taurus, because there's no way an Aquarius is that invested. But, I was like, when I saw the way, his character, not him, but when I saw the way he would touch her and grab her, I was like, this is giving me Taurus vibe. Like, it's giving me like possessiveness, and since I dated Taurus people and had this aversion to them, especially when they want to touch you or grab you, I would always feel the need to pull away, because and this I said it when we were talking about Taurus and Scorpio, that sometimes people think about, because Scorpio is also very, it's very intense and everything. But I think that the moments where I felt like jealousy or possessiveness and I felt it scary and restrictive to my nature, like I would really feel it, is with Taurus people. Like they like I would be like, I know that a Taurus person would definitely like lock me in somewhere and wouldn't let me go. And that scares the hell out of me. Like I think that those moments where I felt like, especially when they try to make it romantic, like, oh, you're mine and you're going to stay with me forever. And I felt like I really wanted to run away, literally, like, let me go. Let me go. I don't want to be your friend. Like even in friendships, it happened to me. Like I need space. I don't like it when you are like that. Like, yeah, we are cool, but that part of possessiveness, I feel it like my soul feels so reactive to that. Like, I understand, I'm loyal, you're loyal, we like each other, but not in the sense of you wanting to possess me like that and you wanting to be there all the time. Like, I think that I don't know, I had like a strange physical reaction to like, please don't grab me, don't touch me. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I would feel it very threatening. And with the Scorpio, I will never feel like that. No, I would no, I understand that they really wanted to dominate the situation, and with silence, they know how to do that, how to dominate you. But I never feel afraid of a Scorpio intensity or a Scorpio possessiveness. I would never, even their jealousy, I would never be frightened by them. But with Taurus, yes, because they don't let go. And I think that that's the scariest, because if I tell you that you have to let it go, because I don't want to repeat myself, like, get out. So yeah, no. For me, it's never been romantic. For me, it never was like, oh, because you love me. No, I felt like, like you're really going to, like I really felt it like if I didn't do, or if I wasn't going to agree to what they say, they were really going to hurt me or something like this. Like, no. She says sun. She says sun, Vigo, moon, he's Aqua. Yeah, they have. Okay. Dominant but not controlling. I like the touchy Taurus quality personality. I need my people close and being able to touch them all the time. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, that's your Venus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, you've never been afraid of it. Yes, yeah. Yeah, but the Taurus play. I don't know if the Taurus sun, but the Taurus placement also it's like for me. You know what it's also like. It's very like I notice them, and probably if they are my friends. Like I have a lot of the Taurus moon friends also, and when they are in relationships, especially the long relationships, they are so blind to like when their partners want to change or if they want to break or if they want to leave the situation or they don't understand. I think that that's the part that for me is like, I would never be associated with someone like you because they don't see the possibility that someone can change. Okay, yeah. My mics are wait. This is because I'm ranting about Taurus and I'm ranting about Taurus and like but I think that like I said, for me it's like their inability to see, why you need why you want to change or why you need distance. I think that I'm like, yeah, it sort of makes sense that people want to change because we change, and we have to be creative. I think that they are like, well, you're with me, right? And it's like, yeah, I'm with you, but sometimes we can change a bit things. Circumstances changes, and this is not lack of loyalty or being not being faithful. Is that relationships change and you need and I don't know. I just think that they are so numb to changes, to different perspectives. I don't know. I feel it like, and they really don't get it. Like I look at them and I'm like, they probably say that they say things, but they don't mean it. Like it doesn't. They don't integrate. It's like or from my for my friends that are girls, every time, a relationship, the person ends up, cheating on them. And it's like, oh, but, we have been together for a very long time. And I don't know. And well, we'll see how this goes. Like, what do you mean we'll see? If that person cheated on you, what do you mean we'll see? Like, you don't see anything. You just, you just break up. Like, oh, I'm so tired of those like I feel so bad for them because I'm like, they really, if it was up to them, they would be forever ever in that place. And for me, it's like, if someone, if someone is doing something to the relationship, is because, they are somehow trying to wake you up and being like, things are not okay, or, I'm not happy, or, yeah, heavily lying because, but I think that for them it's like, well, we will go through this and we will survive this. And it's like, okay. Yeah, for Taurus in theory, as long as it works, why change it? Yeah, that's the thing. And I'm like, uh-huh, okay. Like, I don't know. I just, I don't know. I feel sad for them, because I'm like, can't you see that this person is bringing problems to the relationship? Is bringing other people into the relationship because they somehow want to steer something, and they just are like, well, it was just a mistake. But well, maybe I'm too dramatic or I'm too emotional. So for me, it's like all or nothing situation, and that mentality is also not good. It's not good to be an extremist. It's not good to also like want to end things right away. You know, but well, we all learn from other people, and I also learn from other people's perspectives. When you tell me your experience, or when you are listening to me and you're like, well, how about, this is another perspective, or this is the way I see it, and I learn. And of course, I always stay with what works for me, of course, but I'm, listening to other people or listening to other experiences has allowed me to maybe not get that fixated on that this happened to me, and it's like, and getting stuck with that feeling. But um, I'm moved by other people's experiences as well. I learn a lot. Mm. Yeah, also don't limit yourself like that. Yeah, the signs are just one bit of the off. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Dracula. Yeah, because they can have, something in their chart that actually, it's like, you don't pay attention to signs, just pay attention on how they make you feel, and how you feel when you are with them. And just don't think about the sign, or just think about how they make you feel, how you feel around them. Yeah, because somehow maybe, I totally understand, because for me, not Gemini, but Libra men, for me, they make me feel very uncomfortable. It's like, it's not, they're not bad people, but for me, it's like the way they just don't make any sense. Their personality is very passive aggressive, and I don't like it. One day they tell me that they hate someone, and then the next day they are being best friends with that person. I just don't. I cannot. If you're like this, no, I cannot. I cannot, because they are so intense about, what they did to me the other day. Oh, they was this, and you hear it and you're like, oh my God, poor person, like, oh my God. And then on the next day they're talking to that person and just befriend them, and you're like, okay. Yeah, I believe hearing from both sides is very important, so that you can decide for yourself how you feel and think about it. Hmm. Yeah, and also I think that we, especially, knowing about our placements, but sometimes we do attract certain signs or certain combinations that, yeah, we attract them because they are supposed to be teaching us something. So it's cool also, to take it as a learning process or as a lesson. I think that it's not coincidences that sometimes we get along better with, certain people that have displacements, and then there's others. But I think that yeah, it's just that, for me, it's all about feelings. I have to be around the person to know how they make me feel, you know. Um, mm. Yeah, because they can surprise you. They can surprise you. Like, I don't see myself dating an earth sign, but but maybe I need an earth sign partner, to you know um, to be my other part. But well, it depends. It depends. Mm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, for me, I feel it like, it's like, especially if I do care for someone, when you are, because I don't know the other part. So if you tell me that, and this is mine, this is why I'm always, this is a me reaction. If you tell me that someone did you wrong or that you got hurt, I'm not going to be like, oh, what a bad person, no, because I don't know the other part. I don't know what happened. But I think that if you keep complaining about that person, that you cannot stand them, that they are the worst, and I'm like, okay, it seems like, and then the next day you are all smiles and giggles with them. I'm like, it's like, it's very odd. It's very odd for me to experience that. And they don't say there's this awkward also silence, because they know what we had been talking about. So this is why every time they complain about someone, because they do complain a lot about their significant other or about some people. So I learned to listen to them, and be like, yeah, it must be tough. But I don't get that anymore. I don't get that attached to what they say, because they always have an issue with someone. I would say that they have more issues with people than Aries people. So I'm like, oh my god. I prefer when the partner has air in the big three. Like the boy's song, no air. Yes, I'm like, how can you be someone? How can you be around someone you don't like? Yes, I'm standing there like a stick. Same, same. I'm like, and also because this, presence, like I said, presence, and you've been there for someone is also a love language, and it shows, how much you care. And sometimes, for example, at work situations, you have to be next to someone that you don't stand, or someone that you don't share that many things with that person, but it's because of work or of social duties that you have to do, that in there you can use Libra abilities, being polite, being nice, being correct, but when it comes to private moments, I'm like, my presence, it's important, and it speaks of you, and I think that there's something about, also, they want to be there for anyone. And it's like, oh, there's something, oh, I will go and see and check out, and it's like, but it's not about you being in everyone's business. It's more about, if you can do, what you can do with your presence. It's not about showing your face and that's it, or you asking like, how are you? How are things doing? And then you leave. Like, for me, it's like, if you're going to be like that, please choose, or if you're going to be there, just to, get some gossip, and then you're going to go and and just release it. um mm, yes. Yeah, I did Libra placements in private personally. I know we're talking about not having an opinion, but I haven't noticed that. Yeah, with Libras. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that people probably that have like more like that they get along better with earth signs, or that they have more like a flowy energy. They can understand the strategy, because I'm sure that with Libra there's always a strategy. And one thing that I notice about Libra placements is that no one gets mad at them. Like, no one gets mad at them, that seriously. It's like they get in trouble sometimes because there's always a Libra in the middle. There's always, like, when there's drama, there's always a Libra in the middle, or a Libra placement. But what I notice is that people don't have issues with them, or people let it go very easily. It's not like they become like the nation's number one enemy. So I think that they are very smooth in that, because you can get mad at them, but then you make up, because they are not that bad. It's not. So I don't know if whatever they do not do it with intention. So there's something about them being able to maybe continue being friends with people, or continue being in people's circles, even though they do steer the path a lot of times. I noticed that. And I'm like, there's always a Libra in the middle. I knew it. Every time something happens, it's a Libra. Every time someone finds out about something, it's a Libra. But they are able to get out of it like champions. They just get out of it like, and it's so, but because they're very charismatic as well. They're very charismatic. Um, I don't have that possibility of being that charismatic. It's like, once I said something, or once I, stated an opinion, it's like people have this idea, oh, she is that. And also, I don't mind, people thinking that they don't like what I said. I'm like, I'm standing on my business. Like, if you don't like it, okay, I said what I said. And yes, this is me, so I don't apologize. I don't apologize. But, this is why I usually just, stay quiet, or I stay in the middle, when it's about, making opinions, because I'm like, I know I can be harsh when I say something. So, that's why sometimes I prefer to just listen and not say, and I don't like it when people, and this I notice about air signs, that they do want to get an answer out of you. They want to get you to say something, without thinking. And they always rush me. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know much. I don't have much information. So, once I do, I will get back at you. But at the moment, I wouldn't know, and because for me, yes, a power, like a power, yes, words are, very powerful. So sometimes if you don't have like the full picture, um, you cannot, be judgmental. I just know that, sometimes if you ask me how I feel about something, I can be a bit more expansive, and be like, yeah, this is making me feel uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that, oh, this is the truth. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, then say I don't know. Yes, if you don't know, then say I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I can be very harsh. Here I'm super nice because we're talking about things that I love, that is about tarot. It's about the music entertainment, and it's everything is so fun, and everything it's there's a lot of love and admiration in this industry, a lot of hearts into this. So as a tarot reader, I'm just, I'm doing this because I feel okay doing this. But when it comes to maybe personal decisions or business decisions, or just thinking about collaborations and business side of things, I'm very, like, I'm very cold about that, and I'm very specific about that. And this is why I don't, for me, it's not like, if you want to do a collaboration with me, or if you want to work with me, I will not just say yes because, oh, yes, no. I have to think very well. I have to think very well. And it's not about me judging the other person. It's just that we have our styles. I have my style, and I need to trust my other part, if I'm going to do a partnership. So you can be really cool as a friend, or you can be really cool as a family member, and we can laugh and we can just, be goofy. But when it comes to business or real life decisions, I'm going to tell you like it is. If I don't trust you, or if I don't like the way you handle things, I'm also going to take that as evidence of, like, okay, how are you living your life? Like, are you responsible? I think that this is a very Capricorn thing to say, responsibility. But yes, it's responsibility, because nowadays people are not responsible, especially, when it comes to, saying things online, or maybe, just saying what I think, and it's not, you don't think about the impact, the consequences, you just say, or you just, there's people that they build businesses and they scam people, and they, and it's a whole thing of, lacking accountability. And I think that that's dangerous. That's dangerous. And I don't know. I think that sometimes people, especially me, being surrounded by a lot of fire signs, some air signs, like Libra, Aquarius, like, they are all of them are so cool with each other. All of them are like, oh yeah, you're so cool, yeah, let's do this together. Everything is so spontaneous. Then when it goes wrong, then they start complaining. Oh no, but did you know what they did to me? Did you know that? And I'm like, yeah, well, it sort of makes sense, because if they weren't responsible from the day one, why did you decide to make a team with them? Oh, but they are family, or I know them because they're a family of someone I know. It doesn't matter. We are talking about money here. We are talking about alliances. We are talking about the project, the creation of something, the effort of someone. It's not about if you know them from their childhood or not, or if they are families of someone that you know. It's not about that. So it's 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 so, and I think that is so interesting how they are like, when I say it, it's like, but yes, and it's not like a revelation, it's consequences. So I don't know, guys, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, there have been times where my family said, what, I feel like most people don't want to talk as much as I do. They probably like, please, shut up. I recently found that I just talk all the time. I talk a lot too. This is why we have a VC that is called, Gemini Moon Hours. It's been a while since we went to the VC, but it's there. And also, my channel is Aquarius, so honestly, Vanessa, can I ask you, do you feel annoyed when I ask question on Discord? You can tell, why? What question? You mean you talk on Discord? No, actually, you know that Discord, if it's not for you guys and for Akira that she shares things about Twice, there's a lot of silence. And Draculaura shares things about BTS, yes, and Hope shares things about Shiny. So I'm super thankful because I get when I wake. It's just that when I wake up, I have to go to work, but I check them, and I read them because you guys let me know what is going on, or you open a discussion. So yeah, no, please use it. If it's a bit slow in there, there's not much people, and if there's some people, they don't talk. So please guys, just talk. Everything that is communication, I love it. I love it because I have my MC in Libra, so even though I rant about Libra's energy and everything. I'm an MC in Libra, so for me, it's all about the others. It's all about communication. It's all about understanding. But you know how I am. I'm like, please, let's be respectful to each other. I don't like when people start going at each other. I'm like, okay, but in that sense, I'm like, let's stay, you know, respectful because it's just that it's tough. It's tough for being a multi-stand. Having different groups. But I love it like this. Like I think I chosen what is right for me, what works for me. To be a multi-stand because I have my favorite groups, but I am open to listen to anything. I want to be mysterious and I literally cannot. I'm either non-stop talking or I don't say anything and people think I'm depressed or upset. Yeah, initially, yes, people also think that I'm very serious. But once I start talking, especially when I talk about things that I'm passionate about, I don't stop. This is why, it's been 3 hours since we're here. I mean, more like when I ask stuff on DM. No, I don't care. That DM. No, it's been a while since we talked. Have you sent me a message recently and I didn't read it? No, I do write long text as well. So, it depends on the person. I sometimes don't write it long because I'm like, I also, pay attention and I'm like, there's people that they don't write long answers. So, or I send a long text and they're like, okay. so yeah, I do measure myself accordingly to if the person wants to keep, the conversation or not. No, I do love it. I do love it because I understand more deeply, what you're trying to say, or if there's something else that you want to tell me. But if people sometimes are very short in answer, I'm like, okay, I guess this this is the end of the conversation. No, I love it. I love I think that for me it's like I'm very appreciative of communication. I think that communication is key, and there's people that they probably don't know how to communicate or they don't want to. So I'm like, okay. But yeah, personally, I prefer when people are specific because, there's no room for confusion because it's like you're telling me what you think. Ah, no, I love it. I love it because I understand perfectly. It's as if we're talking. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to go because I have to cook. Actually, I think that my dad started the fire. because we are cooking asado, like it's like meal, like meat, grilled meat, for today to celebrate Labor's Day. So yeah, I'm going to go and make. I don't know if I'm going to make salads. I don't know because it's a bit cold here. And when I eat salads, I feel a bit cold. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm going to go and cook. But yeah, guys, see you on Sunday. And on Sunday, is it possible? Because I know that the other day they said 7 days till Jaehyun, NCT Jaehyun is back, is discharging from the military. So I guess it's next Sunday. So I can read for him, poor guy, what he's coming back to. He's coming back and the half of the team is gone. I believe it's this Sunday. I'm going to write him, Jeffrey. Yeah. So yes, finally, poor guy. Because I'm sure they're going to get him to work right away, poor guy. Oh, but well. Okay, guys, I'm going to go. Yeah, Jeffrey. I'm going to go. And I'll see you on Sunday, okay? Bye.